and keep your eyes shut. The lights flicker, there's evil all around us. No one's safe from the nightmare. Cold sweat, so scared. Someone get me out of here. They say you better be afraid. The night's coming like fire from a hand grenade. There's no escaping tonight. It's coming alive.
It's Tuesday night, November 15, 2022, and you know what time it is. It's Sports with Rich, here live on the SLG Network and my YouTube channel, Sports with Rich, on other sports media platforms. Good evening, everyone. I'm Rich Mancuso. That's our producer tonight. Welcome back, Cal. He's been away from us for a little bit.
I believe Rizzo's having a little technical difficulties.
Where is the Riz? Where's Robert Rizzo, the Wiz? He disappeared again?
Yeah. You know, he is a wizard after all. I think he'll be back here shortly.
Yeah, this has gone on a few times where he's had some technical issues and he's disappeared. And I never start the show without my young protege. So,
Absolutely.
Cal, I got to wait for him. Is he coming in the cube? And let me tell everyone what's going on for the next 2 hours or more on
Absolutely.
Tuesday night here on Sports with Rich. Like, comment, and subscribe as always. We'd like you to do that to my channel and the SLG Network, Sports with Rich. And there's the Wiz, Robert Rizzo. Welcome back. I don't know, you did your disappearing act as the Wiz again, but you're back with us.
I disappeared.
Questions and comments in the cube. Fact of the week coming up on them in the hour. Of course, we will have Nobody Beats the Wiz later on. Yes or no, favorite part of the program. And special guest, Ricky Ricardo, talk about the Philadelphia Eagles' first loss last night. Ricky Ricardo, the Spanish voice of the Eagles on WIP in Philadelphia and WFAN in New York. Yankees El Español. He's the Yankee Spanish announcer. It's a lot of football, baseball talk with Ricky coming up. And we'll also have a lot of this, a lot of that tonight. Is always a busy sports week, and we'll get to it and hope you can get the fact of the week and I can give away one or two of these bobbleheads finally. Wiz, how are you?
Doing great. Packed sports week as always. Football, baseball, free agency talk. We'll get to it, but I just want to start off I want to start off the show with thoughts and prayers to the ones affected in the tragedy at University of Virginia over the weekend.
Definitely.
Terrible news, huge tragedy. I still can't believe it. But
yep. Our thoughts and prayers for sure. And also, let's look at our social media handles to reach us. Scrolling at the bottom all night long for the next 2.5 hours. Ring 786 at AOL, at Twitter, and also Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso, Latinosports.com, NewYorkSportsDay.com. A couple of the outlets I do write for. Wiz, how did they get you? And where did they read your great work?
Follow me on Twitter, RobertRiz994, Instagram, RRizzo4, Facebook, Robert Rizzo, and catch all my daily content on Latino Sports.
All right, before we get to the baseball, and there's always that with the off season, a lot of news coming in just now with managers of the year. We'll get to that. Let's talk some college football locally. But in the national scale, Division III, which doesn't get the acclaim, but I was there at Yankee Stadium on Saturday, and I covered a great Division III college football game. I didn't think this was going to be interesting because we look at Division I, not Division III. My recap and analysis at NewYorkSportsDay.com, you could read it. There they are, Ithaca, the 63rd Cortiga Jug Bowl that drew over 40,000 fans, the second largest crowd in Division III football history. Credit to both teams involved, Cortland and Ithaca. Great ball game at Yankee Stadium Saturday. At 34-17, Ithaca wins it. Both teams came in at 9-0, and now Ithaca, Division III team, awaits their call to the postseason Division III football playoff. That'll come on Sunday. In the meantime, I have a little clip of what it looked like at Yankee Stadium for football, Division III. This is before their pinstripe bowl at Yankee Stadium, which is Division I. And that happens in December, the end of December. Let's look at this clip. Cal, why don't you put it up? And let's take a look at what that atmosphere was at Yankee Stadium on Saturday with Ithaca and Cortland and over 40,000 fans.
That's enough for a corner. First down. First and 10 at the 20.
And Wiz, both contingents of fans took the journey from upstate New York, I-87. They were there hours before the game, way before me. And I didn't think it was going to draw, but it did. And officials at Yankee Stadium and Ithaca, and they would love to do this ritual, this game every year there now. Why not? It drew. It had a draw, and that's a rivalry between Cortland and Ithaca.
That was a hell of a turnout. You had over 1,000 people literally at Billy's stands, the dugout before, right across the street. And like I said, dating back to last year and previous years, it would be at MetLife Stadium all the way in Jersey. So traveling from Cortland all the way down there, I can't imagine. The Yankee Stadium commute, much easier on the fans. And I expect them to be there in the future because, like we said before, the turnout, hell of a turnout, 40,000 plus. And overall, Ithaca owns the record in the series 38-25. So that's a big rivalry going back a long time.
Bear in mind, probably none of those players are too well schools that are recognized for their scholastic achievements, as well as good athletic programs, by the way. They did this. They played that game a couple of years ago at MetLife, and they drew close to 40,000, which was a record then. And now this became the second largest crowd in Division III college football history. So congratulations to both schools, to the players, and we'll have more NCAA action because the college playoff is nearing in to that conclusion, and also the Heisman Trophy coming up just in a few weeks. As time flies, Wiz. But time never ends for MLB. Major League Baseball all season continues, shorter than usual. The awards are coming out. We'll talk about that in a moment, but some developments in the past couple of days. James Click, surprisingly, was relieved of his GM. He didn't come back. They didn't even give him a one-year deal out as Astros general manager. I didn't expect that. How do you win a World Series and not bring back the GM, Wiz?
That was a big surprise to me, a big shock. I believe the news dropped on Friday, early Friday morning. But joining early 2020, a few weeks after Dusty Baker, when you see that process, GM and manager, it's usually the GM gets hired first and the GM hires the manager from there. It was the other way around in Houston. Although they got a World Series out of it, it just seemed like the tension grew over time throughout this season with owners.
Just said that there was some tension with ownership and him. The Astros will go on with a new GM as defending world champs with Dusty Baker. They comes back one more year, and you'd think you win a World Series, you give the guy more than 1 year, but maybe that's what Dusty Baker wanted.
I believe that's also what he wanted. Let him go out on his own terms, take it year by year, season by season, because like we said it last week, he's 73 years old. So at that age, your health is the main concern at any time.
And then you look at the Astros already, the free agent signings. Today, the offers, the qualifying offers, I think 14 players rejected qualified offers, and then there were numerous players that re-signed and got big money once again, including here in New York with Anthony Rizzo. But this guy was one of the top relievers on the market, maybe near Edwin Diaz, who already had re-signed with the Mets. Rafael Montero, big part of that Astros bullpen. He signed and is off the board, and that's 3 years. Montero still with the Astros. Good signing for the Astros again.
Flamethrower out of Houston's bullpen. He proved it this postseason. Like you said, 3 years, $34.5 million overall. 32 years old. He'll be 35 by the end of the deal. But with that postseason, 10 appearances, 1.93 ERA. Guy has it all on the bump.
Now, you go to the Texas Rangers, who are widely rumored for Aaron Judge or Jacob deGrom, more so Jacob deGrom. They've made that known. They want to go after deGrom. But Suarez, what's the deal? What are you hearing? What have you heard?
Robert Suarez signed an extension with the San Diego Padres, 5 years, $46 million. Great reliever out of the pen, 31 years old, and he proved it this postseason just like Montero did. Overall, this postseason, 2.27 ERA and 61 strikeouts over the long haul of this regular season. So the guy, he proved it this postseason, but just as much in the regular season.
And the left-hander Martin Perez, who I got to see pitch twice this summer, once at Yankee Stadium, somewhere else. Now Suarez re-signs with Texas, and that That for Texas means that they want to win. They're in that winning mode. So he's back. They signed him for a good amount of money too. Good left-hander. Love his cutter, Wiz.
Great left-hander. We saw him back in Queens. I believe it was in July. But if the Rangers are serious and legit about contending against the Houston Astros and Seattle Mariners, they're going to have to get a guy like Martin Perez and go for a guy like we were saying, Jacob deGrom.
So, Wiz, we're looking at the award winners this week. MLB, this is all done. The voting by the writers at the end of the season. Nothing in the postseason counts. Rookie of the years, we'll get into that in a moment. Award winning continued tonight. Buck Showalter, close with Dave Roberts of the Dodgers. Congratulations, Buck Showalter. Once again, a manager of the year, this time with the Mets in the National League. Well earned, well deserved for Buck Showalter. Chemistry was right move by hiring him, putting him in. He always has that winning mentality, and so does his team, as we saw this year. The Mets won 101 games. Catalyst, a lot of it. Buck Showalter, not analytically driven, but manages a team. That's what he wanted. And in the American League, who won the award for American League Manager of the Year tonight?
Cleveland Guardians manager Terry Francona, his third manager of the year throughout his career. He had 92 wins this season, managing the youngest team in baseball. Total credit to him and the whole organization out in Cleveland.
Great job done by Francona once again. He proves to do that with every team he manages. The Red Sox, he's done that there. Francona will come back. He has had his health issues and a young, good team, the Indians. The Guardians, as they are, not the Indians. When am I going to learn? Like everyone else, they're the Guardians, not the Indians. So congratulations to Buck Showalter and to Terry Francona, Managers of the Year. More awards coming. We will look now at Jose Trevino and the Yankees. And, I wonder if the Yankees are going to trade Trevino now in the offseason. Now that they seem pretty satisfied. Hal Steinbrenner had been talking about what the makeup of this team could be. The owner of the team talking on the S Network a couple of nights ago, what the makeup, and we'll talk to Ricky Ricardo more about this. But Trevino has also got an award this week.
He won the Gold Glove, and then to add to his fantastic season, he won the Platinum Glove, which makes the best defensive player in whole American League. And for a catcher to win that, props to Jose Trevino. This was his breakout year. 29-year-old, just traded from Texas, all-star season, Gold Glove season, Platinum Glove winner. Overall, he had 32 assists on the year, 2 throwing errors, catching Garrett Cole, Luis Severino, Jameson Taillon. They're definitely going to want him back for next season.
Julio Rodriguez, a player you love that you wrote about prior to the season. American League Rookie of the Year, and then Michael Harris, National League Rookie of the Year with the Atlanta Braves. His teammate Strider, the pitcher, they came in 1-2 in the voting. Good selection by the writers. What did you like a lot about Julio Rodriguez in his rookie year, Wiz?
As much as we could go back and forth on the numbers and the statistics, it's about his leadership in the clubhouse at just 21 years old. There's so many teammates and opponents saying how much leadership skills and how it seems like he's been in the league for 5 to 6 years now, but he just started back in April, and it seems like he's been in it for so long. He reminds me of a young Juan Soto, Ronald Acuna, Fernando Tatis before the suspension, obviously, but that face of baseball, and you see it out of Latino talents year on year.
He is. You put a point, Wiz, about face of baseball and superstar many years to come, and might end up commanding even more money than Juan Soto gets after his control year is over next year. Yeah, and unanimous Rookie of the Year, no doubt about it. The Seattle Mariners are a team they're going to make even more moves in the offseason. They finally got back to the postseason, and he is one of the key components of that lineup, and also with their defense in the outfield. And as far as Michael Harris, the Braves had locked him up during the season. They did it with a lot of the young players, except Dansby Swanson might be on the block. I don't know what they're going to do. The Braves might be looking for a shortstop. I don't know if Swanson stays with the Braves. But how about Michael Harris winning the Rookie of the Year National League?
He had a phenomenal year, and he started the year late. He was in Double-A May 27th, making his big league debut, I believe, May 30th. But he had 19 homers on the year, 297 average, 123 hits. And like I said, he had a shortened season. And for him to get 22 first place votes over Spencer Strider, it just goes to show you how much this guy is going to lead the Atlanta Braves in the future.
And how much the Braves have locked in their young players, and how much the Braves are looking to be winners for a long time. And they've done that during the season, and they have a Rookie of the Year. And they'll continually be in that National League East title mix with the Mets and now the Phillies. We all know Phillies got to the World Series with 88 wins. Next year they could win the division, but that's to be determined between now and mid-February and even beyond. This is a short season. And as I said last week, I think we were 94 days for pitches and catches. I think it's down to 88, -7 from what I said last week. It is crazy. And the award season will continue. Tomorrow night, we'll find out who wins the AL and American League Cy Young Awards. And let's look at this for a little bit. Justin Verlander first. Let's take a look at Verlander. And 40 years old, free agent, and also a lot of talk about where Verlander will be next year. And a lot of talk in New York that both the Yankees and the Mets might be looking to sign a 40-year-old, soon-to-be Cy Young Award winner again out of the American League.
That would be a hell of a story out of New York. We've been hearing the rumors back and forth with Houston, both New York teams, even the Dodgers here and there. The Dodgers are in on everybody, but Verlander, 40 years old, coming off the Tommy John surgery, getting 28 appearances this season, 28 starts, 18-4 record. It seems like this is the Justin Verlander from Detroit, the MVP Cy Young Justin Verlander. And for him to have this season leading Houston to a World Series, he got them there. All said and done, he got them there. He struggled here and there in the postseason, but 1.75 ERA, 185 strikeouts. He's on his way to Cooperstown, and that's before the season even started.
But would you give him more than 1 year if he doesn't re-sign with the Astros? What team will take a 40-year-old, despite all of his history, despite all the success he had this year, would, especially the Mets, if they don't bring DeGrom back, why would you take a risk and sign a 40-year-old pitcher beyond 1 year if that's what they want to do?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I don't think there's going to be many teams out there offering him more than 2-year deals, because 2 years, that's all. Because 42 years old at that point, I just can't imagine the wear hole through the arm. And at that point, he had 28 starts this year. And if he leaves Houston, that's just a new environment getting used to. I can't see it more than 2 years.
Yeah, but something tells me that Verlander stays in Houston. Because even if he doesn't, the Astros are still stocked in that rotation. They'll miss him. They will miss the leadership, his veteran presence, and everything else. They have young arms, strong arms, and they're going to be there for a long time. I just can't see a team taking a risk beyond a year. Internationally, tomorrow night, we should find out. I think it comes down to the two guys, Alcantara of the Marlins, who is my favorite to win the Cy Young, or Julio Urias. I had a discussion with some friends of mine at a local place just a few hours ago. They love Urias. Well, actually, he's Mexican and they're Mexican. They love their players. Save that for the WBC in March. In mid-March, we could decide that. I think Alcantara wins the Cy Young Award, and he wins it big tomorrow night.
I think he's going to be the league go-getter, 25 first-place votes or more. 228 innings pitched. That's 23 more than the next guy in the category. And he had the greatest season from beginning to end for the pitchers this year. Yeah. 2.28 ERA. And when you look at the Miami Marlins, obviously they weren't anywhere close to the playoffs, but just imagine where they'd be without Sandy Alcantara. They'd be along with the Washington Nationals for the worst record in baseball.
Well, there are teams looking for some of those Marlin pitchers in the trade market. Young, strong, and good. And there are a lot of rumors right now. You're going to get a lot of rumors about this and that. But free agency in Major League Baseball doesn't move as quick as it does in the other sports when the season's over. That's because there is that time difference, there's that gap. Also, the contractual situations and financial structures of the teams. You remember, The other teams have baseball doesn't have a cap. The other leagues do. So it does take a little longer. And I think that goes for this guy, Aaron Judge, who on Thursday will most likely unanimously win the AL MVP. He deserved it, led every category, had the single season home run record smashed, 62. And how much? The question is, how much money does Judge get? Forget about the MVP. We know he's getting that. How much money are the Yankees and rumored to be the San Francisco Giants? People have them going to San Francisco already. I don't see that right now, right away. It's going to be a bidding war. I think if the Giants come up with that big offer like we keep hearing, then Judge might look at that to see where the Yankees will take that. And I don't think the Yankees are looking to go higher than this $400 million to keep Aaron Judge.
That's the biggest question. What does Judge want to do? Because how Steinbrenner said it today, they're willing to outbid anyone in the market, but at the same time, they offered him 230 in the beginning of the season. I don't see them offering more than 350. So at the end of the day, the Giants may outbid them, but it just comes down to Judge and where he wants to be and if he wants to end his career as a New York Yankee.
We're going to ask Ricky Ricardo that at the bottom of the hour. He's in on this more than me than you. Ricky knows. Ricky has the answers. I always try to get him out of there. And it's still going to be him and Jacob deGrom, to me, out of New York, are the stories this offseason, where both of them are going to go. But Goldschmidt, MVP National League from the Cardinals Thursday night. What do you think?
I think Paul Goldschmidt is going to end up winning the MVP. 317 batting average, 404 on base percentage, 35 homers. But the only thing that could take it away from him is his teammate Nolan Arenado just taking away votes from him and Manny Machado somehow getting it. But I just can't see it happening overall. Manny Machado had a great season, but Goldschmidt was going for that triple crown until mid-September, and then he had a little slump. So Goldie is my MVP for this year.
Yeah, I could see Machado getting a lot of votes and this being a tight one. And I would, if I had a chance to vote, it would be Goldschmidt. It could be a tie. That you can't rule. You want to rule that also. All right, Wiz, a lot more baseball to come with Ricky Ricardo at the bottom of the hour. And as we continue to do here during the off season here on the program Sports with Rich, like, comment, and subscribe. Our social media handles at the bottom of the page. We're on the SLG Network Live. Like, comment, subscribe there, and my channel on YouTube. And now, before we get to the bottom of the hour, and we'll get to Ricky Ricardo after the brief break, but it is that time of the week for the fact of the week. And let's bring Cal in again and welcome him back in. Great producer. Avery's got the week off.
He does. He does.
We miss Avery, but we miss Cal too, because they all do a great job at the SLG Network. Cal, welcome back. You look good, except for that Green Bay Packer logo or sign in the back of you.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
They got the W on Sunday.
That they did.
We'll talk about that later, but just Billy, but you did it. Packers, I think, are going to get some wins on the board. You and Wiz will talk about that more later. But, Cal, are you ready? And you're going to give us a brief sports update when we go to break as well.
Yeah.
Wiz, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Everyone else, like, comment, and subscribe, and your comments in the cube. Get the fact of the week. The bobbleheads are here to give away. But yeah, I don't know if you get it this week. Here we go. Remember, it's a fact, not trivia. Put that logo up, Cal. Fact of the week. You fell asleep. You haven't been here in a while. Yeah, they got to show everyone. It is a fact of the week. Got to show them. It is not trivia. It's a fact.
Absolutely.
Right? And it deals with the NCAA Men's Championship. We're way off. Months away in April to decide who will be the new NCAA Division I Men's Champion. Okay? And the fact is this, and they need to know this. Look how intense and concentrating they are, so focused here because they want to get it so bad. 2 states never sent a school to the tournament. 2 states never sent a school to the tournament. And this is a fact, not trivia. What are the two states, all right? Who wants to crack at it first?
I'll go. North Dakota and Alaska.
Okay, I'll give you this one, Cal. You got Alaska.
Okay.
Good with there, but North Dakota's not the other one.
See, as soon as I said that, I was like, North.
That was a good guess.
You got Alaska, though. Very good.
Yeah.
All right.
So we got half of it.
Why the hell did I come up with this one? I don't know how I came up with this fact, nor do I know why Alaska and the other state are never been a part of it.
I might know the other one, Robert. I might know the other one, but we'll wait till the end. I'll wait till the end of the show.
No. Let's see. Wiz, you got an answer for the other one?
I'm gonna go with Hawaii.
No. Okay. All right, Cal, do you want to give your other answer now or later?
You know what? I'll give another one later, but I'm going to do one now, too. Is it Montana?
No.
Oh, dude, I thought so confidently about that.
I need you to know that the state of Wisconsin's been there, so...
Oh, yeah, I know. We lost the Natty to Duke Blue Devils, all right? I'm well aware.
All right.
Oh.
All right, Cal. Both of you will try and get the other state later in the program when we wrap up tonight. In the meantime, quick sports update, real quick and brief. There are some games going on, including some good college. Still early in the schedule, just beginning, but we got Kansas, Kentucky. So take it over, Cal, and when we come back, we'll get to Ricky Ricardo. You're watching Sports with Rich here live on the SLG Network. I'm Rich Mancuso. That's the Wiz, Robert Rizzo. Like, comment, and subscribe. Back after this. Go ahead, Cal.
Perfect. All right, time for the spunky sports update. It's been a couple weeks, and I am a little rusty, but nonetheless, we will get through that together. Currently in college hoops, Auburn is up 65-39 over Winthrop. Connecticut winning 50-36 against Buffalo at halftime. Kentucky is squeaking it out against Michigan State right now, half number 2 with 11:56 left in the game. And number 1 UNC versus Gardner-Webb has just tipped off. In the end, it is the Pelicans versus the Grizzlies, quarter 2. Pelicans are up 5. We'll be right back after this brief break with Rich and Robert and our special guest this week. Stay tuned.
What's good, everybody? My name is Caleb from the Bayou City Boys over here on the SLG Network. Happy to announce that we are now working with Dano's Seasoning. So if you're anything like me, you meal prep all the time, Dano's is the way to go, man. They got multiple flavors. Hit them up. Be sure to use our code SLG Network. Appreciate every single one of y'all. Peace.
Spending money like it's nothing. I don't have a budget. Please don't get offended when you see the kids stunting. Got my queens with me, but it ain't no Scarborough bluffing. See, I'm riding solo while dependent bitches cuffing. I got all I need, me, myself, and I just love it. I've been gone.
All right, Rich Mancuso, the Wiz, Robert Rizzo. Don't forget to please honor our sponsors. Do your best. They're good ones here on the SLG Network. Sports with Rich, live Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. As always, I'm Rich. That's the Wiz, Robert Rizzo. And like, comment, and subscribe. My channel, Rich Mancuso, on YouTube and the SLG Network. And our social media handles, as always, scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Now, let's get to the program. And I'm just loving it. I'm glad I got him. I finally got him to come on the show. Let's bring in my good colleague and buddy, Ricky Ricardo. He is the Spanish play-by-play call announcer for the Philadelphia Eagles. Yankees Espanol, I think I said that right, Ricky, for the New York Yankees, Yankee Spanish radio play-by-play. Host, he's shaking his head because I pronounced it wrong. Host at talk show host, WIP Philadelphia and WFEN in New York. And yeah, I'm turning the tables on him tonight because I'm usually a guest on his shows. He's a guest on my show. Ricky, welcome. First question is, where are you right now? I never know where you are.
Tonight, I come to you from the home studio in beautiful Davenport, Florida, just outside of Orlando.
You survived the Hurricane Nicole?
Thank God we did. Minimal damage, no flooding, just a couple of remember we had the 2 hurricanes in about a 6-week span.
I know.
So we just had a couple of screens over it that cover the swimming pool outside, but other than that, we made out okay.
You batten down the hatches. That's what you did. Because Ricky Ricardo's good at that. Okay, Rick, let's get right to it. The Wiz is here, Robert Rizzo. You know him. He's been close. Rick and I, we see
Did
each
you
other in the
re-sign
summer.
with the Yankees today? Is that what you did, Robert?
No, not me, not my cousin, not my relative, but an Anthony Rizzo did re-sign with the Yankees.
He should be so lucky, Rick.
Rizzo signing today with the Yankees. I wasn't sure exactly who was going to take over first base. Anthony Rizzo or Robert Rizzo?
My name's been trending all day on Twitter.
Rick,
I see.
How many times during this season when I introduced him to everyone, they asked the same question: are you related to Anthony Rizzo?
Well, he kind of looks like this guy a little bit. Yeah.
Well, Italians have the same nose as named Rizzo. That's what it is.
Yeah, I got you.
You know, it's an Italian thing. That's what it is. Rick, let's get right to it. You were calling the Eagles-Washington game last night, and the Eagles sustained their first loss of the season. Now, everyone knew, including me, that the Eagles were not going to go the season undefeated, though it would have been nice to top the 72 Dolphins. But turnovers last night plagued them, a couple of other things. What did you make of the game last night on Monday Night Football?
Let's start with the fact that it's a division game in the NFC East. Throw out the records. When the teams within the NFC East are playing Dallas, Philadelphia, Giants, Washington, it's always going to be a battle. Remember, the Eagles went down to Washington, I believe it was week 3, and they beat the Commanders pretty good. They beat them pretty decisively down at FedEx Field. So there was a little bit of a revenge factor. Remember, it's the end of Veterans Day weekend last night, and Ron Rivera, who, although I don't broadcast his team, but one of the guys that I most respect and is most respected around the National Football League is Ron Rivera, the head coach of the Commanders. Military guy. A lot went into the preparation in that game, so that team really, really went hard. He was in tears, Rivera, after the game in the locker room because the guys gave him a game ball. So there was a lot of emotion involved in the Commanders last night. Let's start with that. Division game, always tough. I agree with you, Rich. I didn't think from the bottom of my heart, I didn't think the Eagles would go undefeated. I know the Eagles' flaws. I wouldn't come out and say them until tonight, but some of the things got exposed in last night's game. But knowing and watching and calling every play of the Philadelphia Eagles for the last 11 years, you more or less know if a team has got some things that can be exploited, and the Commanders exploited every weakness of the Eagles last night. 49 running attempts. In today's NFL, guys, which is a pass-happy league, and it's a quarterback-centric pass-happy league, to run the football 49 times and to win the battle of time of possession over 40 minutes. The last time I remember a team dominating time of possession as much as Washington did last night, Rich, I will take you back to the Giants Super Bowl. Was it 91 against Buffalo in Tampa, the night of the great Whitney Houston national anthem? Rich, you remember that? Robert, you might be a little young.
Too young.
But the Giants and Bill Parcells against the heavily favored Buffalo Bills controlled the time of possession in a Super Bowl over 40 minutes for the Giants that night. And last night, the Commanders over 40 minutes time of possession. So they ran the ball. They wore the Eagles defense down by running the football, 49 attempts. They got a couple of lucky calls from the officials. I don't make excuses with refs. There was a face mask to Dallas Goedert that did not call. Okay, and he got hurt on that play. He's going to be out a couple of weeks. Dallas Goedert, one of the better tight ends in the entire National Football League. There was a little ticky-tack foul, although they had to call it at the end when Heineke kneeled down and Brandon Graham came over and touched him on the shoulder. You're not allowed to breathe on the quarterback, basically, at that point once he gives himself up.
Right.
So then there was a big fumble coming off of a long pass with Quez Watkins, didn't even see the guy coming in from behind him. So look, it really felt last night like it was a Commanders night. They did everything they needed to do. But what they did, most importantly, guys, is they put a blueprint out for how you can attack the Philadelphia Eagles, and it's with the running game. Last week, the last game was it was a Thursday night or a week ago Thursday against Houston. Dameon Pierce, who ran pretty well against the Giants this past Sunday, but Pierce ran for over 140 yards. And that's with the Texans' offensive line against the Eagles. You had the big-time running attack last night by Washington. And what worries me moving forward, in the next few weeks, the Eagles will face this Sunday Jonathan Taylor with the Indianapolis Colts, okay? Following that, Derrick Henry with the Tennessee Titans, the Green Bay Packers on Thanksgiving, and then you got the Giants twice with the rejuvenated Saquon Barkley. So the schedule's got a lot of very good ground attacks against the Eagle defense. And, you know, this is a copycat league, as you know. Those defensive coordinators were watching what happened last night. The Eagles are going to get a heavy dose of these very talented running backs for the next few weeks. We'll see how they react after last night's physical thrashing by Washington.
Speaking of the running game and time of possession, this is the first year we've seen Jalen Hurts grow into that MVP type player and be in that conversation along with Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. And you said it. That's the type of way you defeat those star players, time of possession, keeping them off the field. Do you think that's something we could see down the line in January, containing Jalen Hurts by keeping him off the field in the playoffs?
Absolutely. It's really the blueprint to try to beat a very, how should I say, a very dynamic offense that the Eagles have. Now, a big loss last night is Dallas Goedert, one of the better tight ends. And A.J. Brown, I don't know if you guys noticed if you watched the game last night, Brown has been fantastic this year. But he came off the field early in the first quarter with a slight limp. He was not the same, and I'll wait for the medical reports as the week goes on. But he wasn't the same the rest of the night. Only had about 3 or 4 more targets for the entire game last night. They really went heavy with Devontae Smith last night. So I'm not sure if Brown was 100% physically moving forward in that game last night. Give all the credit in the world to the Washington Commander defense. This division now, guys, everyone is 500 or better. Okay? Commanders, who haven't had their bye week yet, they won't have it until week 14, but they're 5-5. You've got Dallas at 6-3. You've got the Giants at 7-2, and the Eagles still at the top of the division at 8-1. So a lot of good football is being played in the division, but you're absolutely right. Riz, when you talk about going forward into a playoff situation, these coaches are looking right now to see what's working against this Philadelphia Eagle team. And once you get into the cold, that January Northeast football, which is run dominated, last night the Eagles did not use Miles Sanders. My biggest critique last night of the game for Sirianni was that he didn't establish the Eagle running attack. Miles Sanders got 1 carry in the entire first half for 6 yards. 1 carry. When you've got a back as good as Miles Sanders and a running attack that has been as strong for the Eagles as it has been, I thought last night they missed the boat by trying to get cute, get fancy, get a little greedy, trying to go over the top with passes too early in the game instead of beating the Commanders. I almost said Redskins. Beating the Commanders at their own game last night. And Washington did what Philadelphia usually does. They just did it better.
And you know, Rick, do you think that they were looking ahead, that they didn't, and I don't believe that anyway, that they just overlooked this team and wanted to move ahead? Because, look, let's face it, this division now with the Giants and the Cowboys is no longer the NFL least. It's the NFL East again. So I don't think they overlooked them. Maybe they just had an off night. I think this is a very good football team, the Eagles.
Listen, the 72 Dolphins and Larry Zonka last night, they popped open the bottles of champagne as they do every year when the last undefeated, team goes by the wayside. Seth Joyner, the great Eagle linebacker from years past, said something on the radio this morning when they asked him that very same question about whether he thought that the Eagles were looking ahead. Number one, it's Indianapolis next week. Now, you tell me it's Dallas next week or the Giants, a division. You're not looking ahead to the Indianapolis Colts and Jeff Saturday, number one. Number two, Seth Joyner said, and I believe this 100%, if there's one sport that you can't look forward to anything because the other team is trying to knock your head off and punch you in the mouth, is football. If you want to tell me baseball, you might be looking ahead to the next game and the pace of the game and the way it is where you've got time to think. In football, you don't have time to think about next week. You've got a guy across from you on the line of scrimmage that's trying to pop you in the mouth and trying to knock you down. So football is the one sport with a concept of looking forward to the next week, I don't think exists because the danger and everything that's going on, there's so much going on, is right in front of you. It's right here and now. You've got to be awake. So, no, to answer your question, Rich, I just think Washington was a better football team last night. Give them all the credit in the world. I'm not going to use the bad calls or the lack thereof, especially on the face mask play with Dallas Goedert. I'm not going to use that as an excuse. Give credit to the Washington Commanders to go on the road and beat the Eagles at what they do best, which is run the football and control the clock.
Good point. We're talking to Ricky Ricardo, my friend and colleague, Wiz. He did the Eagles Spanish announcer, play-by-play, and also New York Yankees Spanish play-by-play. WIP Radio in Philly, WFA in New York. He's all over. He's Ricky Ricardo. Hey, Rick, before the Wiz jumps in again, have the Eagle fans finally accepted Jalen Hurts as their good quarterback? Have they accepted him?
Accepted, yes. Are they convinced? I don't think they're all convinced just yet. He's about as close as you can be. But Jalen Hurts has had his detractors. This season, he has put many of those to bed. But there are still those. I get a lot of calls still on my radio show in Philadelphia that are still not 100% convinced. I think he's come a long way from the kid that transferred out of Alabama, going to Oklahoma, and not being a big first round pick in the draft. Howie Roseman surprised everyone when he chose Jalen Hurts at the height still of Carson Wentz's good days with the Philadelphia Eagles. Roseman was a genius there, but I'd say he's about 80% of the way, Rich, to convince the entire Eagle fan base. Now, this season up to now, I think he's in the conversation for MVP at the halfway point here of the season. In the conversation amongst a handful of guys, Josh Allen, you could throw in there and a couple more. But is Eagles Nation totally 100% on board with Hurts? Not just yet.
I don't mean to go down memory lane, but 2018-2019 playoffs, you called one of the most crazy endings in NFL playoff history with the Cody Parkey double doink field goal miss. And I bring this up because I'm a diehard Bears fan and I had to go through it. But your radio call went viral. You saying, "No, senor, no, senor, no, senor." What could have been going through your mind during that call?
Well, remember, we were the defending Super Bowl champs. That playoff season, we were trying to get back, and Nick Foles again was at quarterback. The Bears were very good that year. They were favored in that game, so the Eagles had to go on the road, very cold, nasty Soldier Field. I was, obviously was there. I had to have security get me out of there that night because there was a group of Bears fans right below my broadcast booth that wanted a piece of the guy with the no senor as he exited the stadium. The part that really offended a lot of Chicago fans wasn't the no senor and the enthusiasm, but when I started singing, My kind of town, Chicago,
So,
Chicago. We're
well,
going to
his
New
background
Orleans, baby.
as a DJ. He was a music DJ at first, Ricky,
Well, we
in
moved
New
on
York.
from there and went to the Superdome the following week in a real tough game against the New Orleans Saints that we lost. And then the Saints lost to the Rams, and the Rams went to the Super Bowl and got beat by the New England Patriots. But we were looking for, back-to-back Super Bowl appearances that year. But on a cold night in a low-scoring, very hard-hitting matchup, if you remember, it was an exciting game. And to get out of there, to get out of Chicago with a win that night was just, one I'll never forget.
Hey, Rick, this league never, what goes on every week now in the NFL? I'm watching Sunday. I'm watching these games. I'm hooked on the red zone. Everyone knows that now. Yeah. And it's what goes on every week. Is like we saw the Minnesota Bills game that had that. We're going to talk more about that later. But the Vikings are a surprise to me. Is that because of Kirk Cousins?
They're a well-rounded team. I like their new head coach. But Justin Jefferson, the catch he made in that game, to me, I think it tops the Odell Beckham catch against the Cowboys, that one-handed pass that he made.
Yeah, right.
All the
considering the circumstances, 4th and 18 against the tough Buffalo secondary in those kind of conditions, with Bills Mafia going crazy and the whole thing, for Jefferson to make that grab and to stretch that drive out. But Cousins, the Eagles are the only team that's beaten Minnesota. I saw him in week 2. Cousins has his vulnerabilities. He's played very, very well, but it's a very well-rounded football team. They're good in the secondary. You've got Peterson that made the interception to finish that game, Harrison Smith. They've got a lot of talent on both sides of the football. So, Minnesota could be one of those teams that towards the end and into the playoffs, it's not like the old days, Rich, when you had to go up to Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington. Yeah. Remember that? And the temperature was literally 25 below zero to play a playoff game. Now they've got a dome stadium in Minneapolis. It's a beautiful place. Eagles won the Super Bowl in that particular building. But they're going to be tough to beat. They're a very well-coached team with Kevin O'Connell. And I wouldn't want to play him again in the playoffs if I didn't have to.
I got one more Eagles question for you, and you asked me about it in August at Yankee Stadium, my opinion on Dallas versus Philadelphia, and you got to broadcast the call about it. But tell me about that rivalry. Why does Philadelphia Nation and Dallas Nation, every time they meet up, go at it at the link?
There's so much history in that rivalry. Remember, for years, the NFC East was dominated by the other 3 teams. Okay, the Eagles in the Andy Reid era, from about the late 90s on, and Donovan McNabb, the Eagles have really, probably overall, the Giants have got a couple of Super Bowls in that era, but the Eagles have made the most playoff appearances. But during the Jimmy Johnson days of the Cowboys and the Buddy Ryan days of the Philadelphia Eagles, those were some of the nastiest, hard-hitting games you will ever – there were rule changes that exist today about the physicality and the nastiness of football because of those games between the Cowboys and the Eagles. Now, Philadelphia is the kind of town, and Richie will tell you, well, you've been there too, Riz, but Philadelphia is the kind of town that has a chip on its shoulder. Texas and the Cowboys are America's team. New York is a bigger market than Philadelphia. So they've got I don't want to say inferiority complex, but what Philadelphia sports fans have is a little bit of a chip on their shoulder with the other teams. It's not so much with Washington, because Washington is so political. Politics is bigger than sports in Washington. There's nothing bigger than sports in Philadelphia. The interesting part about the rivalry between the Eagles and Cowboys is that Eagle fans despise the Cowboys, but the Cowboy fans don't hate the Eagles. So a really good rivalry needs mutual hatred. The Cowboys' rival has always been Washington. Now, obviously, it was, when they were the Redskins, you had the Cowboys and the Indians, which is, a built-in rivalry. But for years it was Dallas-Washington was the big rivalry, and the Giants and Eagles being neighbors up and down the New Jersey Turnpike with just an hour and a half drive between stadiums, that was more of a rivalry. But right now, as it exists, and I've had this discussion with Eagle fans for years, they hate Dallas more than anything else. And I think it all goes back to those Jimmy Johnson coached Cowboy teams with Aikman and Emmitt Smith and Mike. Remember, Michael Irvin, got hurt. They left. They cheered when Michael Irvin got knocked out at the vet.
I remember that, Rick. I remember that. Remember it well.
They cheered when they had to cart the guy out was knocked out cold. So, it's a long.
They talk about that game. They talk about that matchup during the height of the baseball season. They can't wait for it over there in Philadelphia. You happen to be. I say, if you two towns. I'm going to talk Yankee baseball just a segue into that, Rick. But you have the liberty of two fan bases you broadcast for. The Philly fan base with the Eagles and, of course, the Yankee fan base, New York. The question is, what is the difference with the two fan bases, New York and Philly, for what you've seen?
In general, the Philadelphia fan base, I'm not going to say is more passionate. It's a different kind of passion. The New York fan base and the New York sports fan is a little more cerebral. I think they're a little bit more, shall we say, logical. Philly fans, it's beyond making sense. It's fanatical is what it is. All right. And I'm, like I said, to me, sports in this country run from Boston to New York to Philadelphia. The Northeast corridor between Philly and Boston, to me, that's where sports is king in this country. When you go west a little bit, all right, you can stop in Chicago. For years, Detroit was a great sports town, not so much anymore. But really, the three markets that have the best fan bases, the most passionate fans, in my opinion, I've been around the country and around the world, are Boston, New York, and Philadelphia. Rank them in whatever order you want. I think New York fans have a lot, because there are so many more teams, as I'm watching the Devils here, my favorite hockey team, by the way. Because there are so many more teams in the New York metropolitan area, the fan base is, divided amongst, 9 different franchises in the 4 major sports. In Philadelphia and Boston, you got one team for all the majors. That's it. It's 4 for 4 towns.
Good point.
So the energy is more concentrated on what is the city itself, because they only have one team representing each of the 4 major sports. Whereas in New York, you've got Met fans, you got Yankee fans, you've got Rangers.
You have to. It's unbelievable how you make that transition, because you go from one sport to another. And sometimes they're overlapping with baseball and the NFL at the same time beginning, but you also 2 radio shows in 2 different markets. So you're hearing it from 2 different fan bases. And when I'm a guest on your show, before I come on, I hear it on both your shows, programs.
Oh, yeah.
So I hear it, so it's an incredible thing.
The only time I ever get any complaints about a Rich Mancuso appearance on my program is whenever he mentions anything having to do with New York on the Philadelphia station. Well, I'll see you at the Garden. I'll see you at Yankee Stadium. They'll call away. We don't care about that. They're very provincial. It's all about Philadelphia. It's a tremendous fan base.
Yes, it is. But let's talk about, you're with this team over 6 months, and the talk now, Yankees and Aaron Judge. And the big debate here is, debate, but that's the speculation. When, who, how much with Aaron Judge. And Rick, through your sources, what are you hearing? Are you hearing anything? San Francisco, that the talk, the Giants, and some already have them going to the Giants. This big contract, and the Yankees are going to have to bid that. They want to keep him. Where do you think, briefly, where does Aaron Judge go and how much?
I do think the Giants are the other suitor. I think the Giants, who have a lot of money to spend, Remember, the Giants spent, I don't know, a good 8, 10, 12 years selling out that ballpark every night. All right. It wasn't an empty seat to be had during the Bruce Bochy era where they come away with 3 World Series. That has dissipated. Okay. You've had crowds in San Francisco this past season, 12, 14, 16,000. That's unheard of for that franchise. So Zaidi, the general manager that came in, Farzan, that came in from the Dodgers, is looking to get them back to that status. Now, you've got to have a marquee name. For years, it was Bonds, that sold out. Used to be Pac Bell, whatever they're calling that ballpark. It's a beautiful place in San Francisco, AT&T Park. But they need an attraction, and who better for the attraction to bring that fan base back than the local kid? Locally, he's 80 miles away in Linden, California. Listen, San Francisco and Linden, California. You couldn't have 2 towns that are more different. This a very small little conservative farming town in Linden, California. And San Francisco is probably the most radically left, crazy, just off the wall type of place in the entire country. So, Aaron Judge his makeup is more Linden than San Francisco.
All right. So how much is he going to get? How much is he going to get?
I think he's going to get anywhere between 7 and 8 years. He wants the most average salary per year. I think the Giants will offer him somewhere in the vicinity of between $280 and $300 million for 7 to 8 years. And we'll see if the Yankees and Hal Steinbrenner, who's been very, very, out in the open here these last couple of days.
Look, you know him better than I. You know him better than I do. You talk to him more than I do during the course of the season. What did he tell you? What did he say? Did he say anything to you personally, or? Yeah.
Well, I would never disrespect him by asking.
Yeah.
I've had a great relationship with Aaron Judge going all the way back to his first spring training camp on the major league level in Tampa here. We've always gotten along very well. I let the beat writers and guys like you ask those kind of questions. My thing is more as how's the wife, how you feeling? It's but I don't want to come across as as being one of the group of beat writers that are all trying to beat each other to the punch and get the scoop per se. That's not the kind of relationship I have with him. My gut tells me, Rich and Riz, my gut tells me he'll be back in pinstripes. I'll tell you what, if you want a real sucker's bet, if you're at a bar and you want to get somebody on a real sucker's bet, then guarantee you tell them, I guarantee you that on opening day at Yankee Stadium, Aaron Judge will be in right field.
Yeah,
the Yankees
I think so too.
With the San Francisco Giants.
He's got the Judge's Chambers there. He's got the fan base. He's got New York. He loves it here.
The Yankees open with the Giants.
I know. I know, and it would be such a black eye to that franchise, the Yankee franchise, if he's gone. But what does this team have to do, Rick, to get by the Astros? Let's face it, they're simply not good. What are they going to do?
Well, look, they re-signed Rizzo today. That's a good first step. And Rizzo and Judge are very tight, so that could help in the recruitment.
Yeah,
it can't hurt. Look, I think Gleyber Torres is a guy that personally I think should be moved. I thought Torres was gone at the trade deadline when the Marlins wanted him in a Pablo Lopez deal. DJ LeMahieu needs a place to play. The left side of the infield, I thought the deal for Kiner Falefa and Donaldson, I was kind of iffy on it when it was first being made. Donaldson had a terrible year. He looked cooked. Kiner Falefa, I don't think, is built for New York, and I don't that little side delivery of his thrown to first base, I don't like it. I think the Yankees may have. The problem is who's going to take $25 million of Donaldson's money off your hands for next season. Right. That's a lot of dead weight. That's a lot of dead money. But the left side of the infield, I think you'll have a new shortstop. It might be Peraza. I don't think they'll be spending in the Trey Turner, Correa. They won't be shopping there. But I do think they'll make an attempt to either bring in this Japanese hitter whose name escapes me at this minute. Either him or Benintendi to play in left field. Mm-hmm. You've got Harrison Bader to play center field. They're going to go above and beyond, I think, to keep Judge and Wright. But it wouldn't shock me, guys, if there's an upgrade at catcher. I mean, Jose Trevino wore down by the end of the year. He was physically shot. In the postseason, was cooked. And let's face it, Kyle Higashioka is a nice backup catcher, but he's nothing special. And I think the Yankees could use an upgrade there. But a guy like LeMahieu needs a position to play. This moving him around third one day, first the next, I think that's a terrible idea. I personally would move on from Glaber, bring in another starting pitcher using Torres as a trade chip, and give DJ LeMahieu his second base pick. You got him signed for another, 3-4 years anyway.
Right.
He's a gold glove.
And Rick, they got to get younger and more athletic. They're too old. Matt Carpenter had his little ride. Right. And he was basically rehabbing in the postseason, playing for a championship, which made no sense at all.
Yeah,
that's why you saw.
Giancarlo missed another 6-8 weeks this year again
with the Achilles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
not good.
Speaking of the upgrades, and you mentioned the infield issues on the left side, do you think we see Anthony Volpe on the opening day roster?
Probably not. I think Volpe, from everything that I've heard, is still a little ways away. I think Cabrera, who showed he's a major leaguer, he'll be on the opening day roster. I think if of that group, Peraza might be the one. Oswald Peraza might be the one that breaks through. And like I said, there are too many pieces. You've got LeMahieu, you've got Glaber, you've got Peraza, you've got Cabrera. There's a lot of guys for not too many spots here. So if they intend on getting one more really good quality starter, or remember, Aroldis Chapman is gone. Zach Britton is gone. You've got a lot of holes in that bullpen. You saw late in the year some of the guys weren't as reliable, as they were early in the year. So, you may be seeing some pieces being moved there for some quality relief help. You don't really have a closer, right? Who's the closer, right? Do you trust anyone to be the everyday closer?
You don't. Holmes has to come back healthy next year. Clark Schmidt's
a problem and Holmes had physical issues. But on top of that, at post June 20th, which was that first blown save that he had against the Tampa Bay Rays, because I was filling in for John Sterling that night here at the Trop in St. Pete, he was never the same for the rest of the year. Didn't know where that ball was going.
No, he did not.
There was a lot of holes to fill. Brian Cashman.
A lot of holes. A lot of work for Brian Cashman.
By the way, Brian Cashman does not have a new deal yet.
Brian
Cashman needs to get his situation straightened out, and then he's got a lot of work to do.
He'll be at the winter meetings too, early December. Ricky, before I let you go, and I appreciate you coming on, because this is your off season in between the Eagles, still doing that and everything else.
A lot of car commercials. As soon as I'm doing review,
and jewelry commercials.
Recording a lot of car commercials for dealerships around the country.
You're the perfect guy with that voice and enthusiasm. Where you get this energy?
I'll give you an example. I bet you didn't know this, Rich. Okay, you've seen the commercials for Bounty paper towels where they have a spill.
Yeah,
right.
Mm-hmm. Don't tell me that's you.
Spill before it ruins it, and you hear the guy go, "No, is me." Yes.
Oh.
Well, you're everywhere.
Cal, I'm going to show this at the end of the program, but show it. I want Ricky to see this. He knows I'm notorious for this, and so does Riz in the Yankee dining room, press room. I did it Saturday at the college football game again. Cal, can you put that up? The spill? My spill again?
Oh, there we go. That's a no! Those are not Bounty paper towels there.
Yeah, that one Bounty at Yankee Stadium. Rick, I want you First of all, are you going to be at AEW? Are you coming in for AEW Saturday?
Saturday night. We'll be at full gear.
Coming?
Yes.
Okay. I should be there. Right now, I have a couple of other things that I should be there. Expect to be there. So
yeah,
I should see you there.
By the way, I ran into a couple of the guys at the airport. They all live here in Florida, the vast majority of the wrestlers. And I ran into they will remain nameless, but I ran into 3 of them yesterday when I was getting on the plane to go to Philadelphia. The gate next to me was the flight to Newark, and there was a whole AEW contingent of guys that are already, that already flew up yesterday to get ready. Remember, there's 2 shows, one on Friday night and one on Saturday night.
All right, and then I'll talk about it, keep it in the ring in a moment. There's Rampage tomorrow night as well. Dynamite on TBS.
Dynamite
so
and Rampage
I have a
Friday.
whole week ahead, and I'll be talking to Tony Khan on Thursday. Rick, now you got to do this for us. For me, the Riz, and the viewers of our program, Sports with Rich, here live on the SLG Network and YouTube. Rick, I need to hear that Eagles call for a touchdown first in Espanol first. Come on,
which one you want?
That first. I want a touchdown call. Any touchdown call from the Eagles game in Spanish.
Oh, well, last night was Hurts atrás. Hurts buscando el pase por el lado izquierdo. Conecta con Devontae Smith. Touchdown!
Terrific. There you go. Now, John Sterling has his calls. He's your Yankee compadre today, your buddy on WFAN. And maybe one day when John steps aside, you've been filling in for him and doing a great job with the home run call yourself. We all heard your Aaron Judge historic home run call on Waldo, right? What station is it? Yankee
Radio, yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, I get my stations all screwed up.
You were right. Waldo.
Yeah, it is Waldo. Yeah, I knew it was. And do a great job there. Who's your sidekick there? What's his name again?
Rivera.
Right. Another good guy, very low key and very good. Unfortunately, I don't speak Spanish or understand it very well. And I write for a Latino website along with the Riz, but that's another story. I want a Yankee home run call before I let you go, or an Aaron Judge historic home run call before I let you go. Go ahead.
Ahí va el batazo del juez. Esa se va y se fue. Échale sazón. Eso es un jonrón. Aaron Judge, el juez culpable, guilty of his 62nd home run. I'll only do that for you guys right here on this.
Do you jump around in the booth like that when you're doing a call like that? How do you get into that?
Sure.
And
a lot of energy, a lot of inertia being moved around.
Unbelievable the energy you have. All right, Rick, where are fans going to hear you and maybe me if I talk some boxing with you whenever on WIP or WFAN, Philadelphia or New York?
We'll be back on a big fight here, Montreal and the Devils. I'll be back on WIP. Let me see. Eagles are on Sunday at 1, so that means we will be back on WIP this weekend and WFA. As soon as Rutgers football finishes, because they're carrying a lot of Rutgers programming on WFA, and as soon as Rutgers football finishes, then we'll have some shifts there on the weekends coming up in the next few weeks. But this Sunday night, I'll do the Eagles-Colts game, and then after Westwood One's broadcast of Sunday Night Football this week, it's the Chargers and the Chiefs will come on after that. And if there's something, actually, we may reach out to you Sunday night and we'll talk about Full Gear and we'll see if there's any good boxing that's coming up here for the holiday season.
There's always a lot of boxing. I'm always, it's really not been heavy, but there's always a lot. I don't know where the Riz went. He probably lost his connection, but I'm sure he's going to thank you either way. He'll send you an email or text and thank you for coming on, Ricky. Hey, Rick, my friend, this was great. I turned the tables on you and you did it. I did it to you tonight.
Not a problem. Anytime, Richard. My pleasure.
And we'll do it again. I hope to get the Riz back. Ricky Ricardo, thank you, my friend. Stay safe. Good travels. I'll see you this weekend, all right?
See you at Full Gear in Newark.
Keep it in the ring, of course. All right. Ricardo, my friends, here on Sports with Rich, live here on the SLG Network. He with WIP Radio Philadelphia, and he's a play-by-play voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, Spanish, and the Yankees Spanish play-by-play announcer, New York WFAN, and also you'll hear his sports talk radio call-in shows on WIP Philly, WFAN in New York. Now, Cal, come on in, Cal. I don't know where the Wiz went before we take this to break and start keeping in the ring. Cal, what happened to the Wiz?
I think he's on his second act of the night where he's performing his disappearing magic trick once again. Hopefully.
That or he had to run to the TV to hear Donald Trump say he's running for president again. One or the other.
Yeah, I'm going to lean more towards the magic trick, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's got to be the internet connection that the Wiz missed the end of that Ricky Ricardo interview, and he was great. And Ricky he's a great colleague and great play-by-play voice and a great radio talk show host too. And I'll be on, like you heard him, I'll be on his show this weekend on WIP. I go on every once in a while. All right, Cal, here's what we're gonna do. We got to get the Riz back. The Wiz back. The show is not the same without him. I get it. And I don't know what happened, but I'm going to try and find out where he is. We'll take a break, and then we'll come back. Hopefully the Wiz will be back and connected better. And then what we'll do is also keep it in the ring going with the boxing and the wrestling talk. The Sports with Rich. I'm Rich Mancuso. That's Cal, our great producer. And the Wiz, Robert Rizzo, should be back on the other side. Hopefully. I don't know if the Martians took him again. I don't know.
They might have.
Maybe he's there in Green Bay or something, and I don't know.
He's traveling. He's gonna show up walking around this camera right here in like 5 minutes or so. It's a magic trick, folks.
Cal, take it to break till we get him back. Give a brief sports update if you got anything going on that's big, and we'll be back on the other side. Sports with Rich, back after this.
Perfect time for the second Spunky Sports update of the night. Been stunning that time. Tonight, so far, we have a close one in New Orleans where the Grizzlies are taking on the Pelicans. The Clippers and Mavericks have tipped off, and my betting habits seem to be going in good favor as the Mavericks are up 33-18 in quarter number 2. Knicks Jazz, notable matchup for tonight, just tipped off, and we still have a couple games left on the docket tonight as well. Number 13 Auburn in college men's hoops gets the dub over Winthrop. Connecticut wins by 20 over Buffalo. Michigan State is down by 1 with 15 seconds left in half number 2 of that game, and UNC is up 4 at halftime. We'll throw it to a quick commercial break, and then we will be back with Robert and Rich right afterwards.
Doing bad, they gon' love you. Yeah. Doing good, they gon' hate you. Yeah. Look down on your come up, but to the hustle, stay faithful. Big goals by the rate full. Drip everywhere, that's wasteful. Accent color, that's tasteful. We front and center at the tape. Got 3-5 in my blunt. Yeah. 4 extra mud in my cup. Yeah, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. I was out of luck. Yeah, now my money up. Yeah, they feeling that. They feeling it. They feeling it. Show her in the truck. Then throw it in the guts. Yeah, she feeling it. She feeling it. She feeling that. Niggas talking tough, yeah, till we pulling up. Now he feeling that. He feeling that. He feeling that. Save me a gold casket. My life been tragic. Yeah. Good gas and blunts pass. Blow out a nigga head gaskets. Fuck boys don't need them. Yo bitch crazy, better keep her. Yo niggas high when it's time to ride, but I bet that bitch start squeezing. Smoke sessions in the evening. Private chef and we eat it. It's a long way from voyeur to 4 years in Lamborghinis. Move different, can't see me. Only pictures ain't on TV. Tribe meetings and vibe readings. These space race like E.T. We had roaches in the kitchen. Now it's rooms in the villa. Took the cards I was dealt, flipped them. I'm the one who do the dealing. Did so much of my own, baby, I don't give a fuck about feelings. Everybody got a lot to say, but ain't nobody came with it. Fuck it, I spin it. Had it, I lent it. Trusted some niggas, now I regret it. I can forgive it, never forget it. Niggas still out there, I ain't gon' get it. Yeah, this is it, I can't slow up. Niggas muddy from the pole up. Big sauce like a cold cut. You either hoe up or you gon' blow up. Got 3-5 in my blunt. 4 extra mud in my cup. Yeah, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. I was out of luck. Yeah, now my money up. Yeah, they feeling that. They feeling that. They feeling that. Show her in the truck. Then throw it in the guts. Yeah, she feeling that. She feeling that. She feeling that. Niggas talking tough. Yeah, till we pulling up. Now he feeling that. He feeling that. He feeling that. Where the ghost mean power, you a star, Omari Hardwick. Seen a lot of hardships. We was taking long trips, talking through the glass. Gotta medicate with strong hits of ganja. Gotta watch how people move around you. My brother got sittings cause of snitch. Niggas dying over bitches. Niggas lie like it's religion. If you been dying, you feel me. Gotta keep applying pressure. Double up, that boy can stretch it. Good credit or no credit, they need it, go get it. Lil' baby, this is me. What you get is what you see. And you best believe we wore red. Got 3-5 in my blunt. 4 extra mud in my cup. Yeah, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. I was out of luck. Yeah, now my money up. Yeah, they feeling that. They feeling that. They feeling that. Show her in a truck, then throw it in the guts. Yeah, she feeling that. She feeling that. She feeling that. Niggas talking tough. Yeah, till we pulling up. Now he feeling that. He feeling that. He feeling that.
Okay, we're back, and I think the Wiz is back.
You see me? I am all.
Now, this is Sports with Rich. I'm Rich Mancuso, live on the SLG Network, and those tuning in an hour, live Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Like, comment, subscribe. My channel, Rich Mancuso, on YouTube, SLG Network. But, Wiz, are you okay?
I'm all good.
Disappeared.
I know, I'm all good. At the time, I'm looking, and you and Ricky turned into the circles, and I'm like, it's all loading. So I looked, internet was out. So that's on me and Mother Nature.
Well, Ricky Ricardo was wondering as well. It was great, by the way.
Thank you, Ricky.
The magic trick.
I meant to say that during the interview.
He was terrific. I thought Donald Trump kidnapped you.
That didn't happen tonight.
I hope it never does. As he's officially announced, he's back in the presidential sweepstakes in 2024. No comment. You're all right. It was an internet connection. I know my Wi-Fi was down today a little bit too. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's the weather or whatever, but please, these internet. Okay. You know, when we do a live show, these things happen, but thank goodness you're back. I thought something happened to you. I really did.
I'm all good, and I tend to do it every week. I blame Mother Nature. That's my first excuse. So I'm going to do the same thing today. Mother Nature.
Yeah, all right. Well, anyway, welcome back. Ricky Ricardo was great. He was great. He was. I don't know if you heard the end of the program, but you did get to hear his calls, though. They were great.
Yeah, I got to hear the great calls. It's
it's
a joy and pleasure seeing him in the press.
We already spoke during the break. He's more than happy to do it again when he has the time. And I hope to see him this weekend at AEW Full Gear. Speaking of Full Gear, we'll talk wrestling in a moment, but let's get to the boxing stuff. We keep it in the ring now on the program. And Cal, thank you for getting the Wiz back in there with us. When I do the program with the Wiz, I can't do without him. Likewise, when I take off, which I will again next week, he doesn't feel the same either. That's because we work together as a team here. All right. Keep it in the ring, boxing talk. Let's get to this guy, Montana Love. The 6th round, he was disqualified. This on his own. A super welterweight. To start bat with Starks, and he dropped Love in the 2nd round. There was some blood flowing from his head too, but this became a disqualification. Love said that Sparks was pushing him the whole fight, and then he got up in the knockdown, whatever, and then he pushed him, and then all of a sudden, inadvertently, supposedly, Sparks went through the ropes. I don't think it was intentional, but the referee called for the DQ. The promoter, Eddie Hearn, in matchroom, objected to it, said, no, the referees have a tough job. He defended him and didn't defend him. In the meantime, a good fight turned out to be a whoops because it became a disqualification. It looked WWE style. That's what it looked like. When I couldn't believe what I saw Saturday night. But luckily, Stevie Sparks did not get hurt. That could have been catastrophic had he fallen the wrong way, Wiz.
Yeah, it looked like a bad fall. I saw it on Twitter. It was going viral just because that ending, and a video like that you never see in a boxing ring. So I'm just glad he's okay, and I'm glad the people outside of the ring are okay, because just a fall like that, any boxing athlete falling like that, a lot of people can be hurt right next to the ring, as you see. You do the broadcast all the time. You're right at the action. So it's a dangerous sport, and even in that situation, it's really dangerous.
Yeah, but you don't want to see that, and they're going to have a rematch supposedly. They will work on that because it deserves one. Hopefully, everything will be status quo when they meet again. The boxing calendar is not as heavy as I said last week as we're going to the end of the year here as it was last year at this time because the promoters and the networks can't come together to get the big mega fights together for the fans. But I could guarantee you this: they're working on it. I'm hearing it more. They will put these mega fights together in the new year, and there's going to be an awful lot of them, and there'll be a lot of players involved there. Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis, Shakur Stevenson in those divisions, lightweight, super lightweight, even in the heavyweight division, which heats up. Even Tyson Fury's got his title defense, WBC heavyweight, coming up in a couple of weeks. This guy's been a retired heavyweight, but he's not really because he's doing exhibition. The undefeated Floyd Mayweather went over to Dubois. Had another exhibition against this guy. I'm not going to mention it. What a joke. Just a joke. There's a lot of money there for Mayweather. Then there's a joke because Jake Paul got on the commentary. And I watched some of that. And it was hilarious. Stupid. Doesn't make boxing look good. Whereas Jake Paul called out Tommy Fury and his dad challenged Paul all for show in an exhibition. And if anyone paid $34, $40, $50, or whatever it was, the pay-per-view, what a waste of time on Sunday night.
Yeah, it's a major waste of time. I never buy into these exhibition bouts, especially with Floyd Mayweather. Ever since I feel like the last 5 fights, it's stuff like this. Many people don't even know about it. Going into it, I didn't even know about it on Sunday night, and then I see it on Twitter, and just like that, Mayweather's fighting again. It's just something boxing fans don't tune into anymore, and the Paul actions after that, I'm not a fan of.
He's making an awful lot of money doing that overseas.
For sure.
Whether he needs the money or not, but it's a joke. It's a fiasco. Saturday night on the Zone, junior middleweight. This is worth watching. Jaime Molina of Golden Boy from Mexico. We'll get to this now too. But Molina is one of those fighters that you're going to look out for in the new year. That's Keith Thurman we just saw. Put it up again, Cal. Keith Thurman is going to fight Earl Spence. That's going to come in the new year early for Spence's titles. Because Crawford is not fighting him right away. But Crawford has got Derek David Aberstein on December 10th on a new pay-per-view network. In the meantime, Keith Thurman will come back again, try and get another welterweight title, and he'll get Errol Spence, who's considered next to Crawford the top pound-for-pound fighter in the business. All right, let's get to some UFC stuff right now, Wiz, because this was interesting. Saturday night, I sold out Madison Square Garden UFC. Alex Pereira, you know about this more than me, against Israel Adesanya, a middleweight title. Upset?
Big upset going into it for the middleweight championship. Alex Pereira knocked out Israel Adesanya in the 5th round, 2-minute mark. Vicious combination of right and left hooks, and the referee had to stop it to save Adesanya, honestly, because it was getting ugly in that final round. Adesanya now stands 23-2. Alex Pereira stands 7-1. And dating back with this rivalry, I believe it's a rivalry, they kickboxed each other before their UFC careers twice, and both times Alex Pereira defeated him. So add this on, Pereira stands 3-0 in the battle.
Interesting. So it was a trilogy, right, in the UFC?
Yeah,
which I didn't watch.
They kickboxed on a minor level the first 2 times, and this was their first UFC bout.
Okay, so this was you're in the UFC more than I am. This was a fans type of fight that didn't transpire to be that way, right? Am I assumed to say that? Am I right?
Yeah, no, that's the right way to say it, because anything with Israel Adesanya, it's gonna sell pay-per-views, physical tickets, but at the same time, you're expecting action every freaking round, and you didn't get that on Saturday night at the Garden.
So, who are the top 3 fighters in UFC right now?
Ooh, I'd say Adesanya for sure. See, it's tough with UFC because there's so many classes. Same with boxing, but Israel Adesanya is the biggest name. People just love watching him fight. Sean O'Malley is a big upcoming name. The rainbow hair, everyone loves watching O'Malley fight. But McGregor hasn't fought in a while, and people are still riding on the McGregor fan base. So I'd say those.
What about Nate? What about Nate Diaz?
Nate Diaz he fought that one recently, but I don't think he's going to be fighting anymore since that last one.
Right.
Yep, Islam's another big one. So there's names, there's up and coming names, there's solidified names, but it's just with UFC and boxing the same way. You don't hear about them until every 3 or 4 months. Their name doesn't stay relevant in the news.
No, they don't. And they don't make the money that pro fighters make. And there's a big disparity there as well. Yet they do pay-per-view, and their numbers are pretty good. They're holding in there. And they keep busy. Dana White's got the UFC. And then you got Bellator, MMA, Bellator, too. That's on Showtime with a big contract. So we're going to talk more UFC in the months ahead. We have some things planned on the program with that. All right. Let's get to Cal. Is Ray there, ready to Keep It in the Ring Pro Wrestling? Is he there? Yeah, Ray is there. Okay. I thought we was going to be a little late on him. Hey, Ray.
Hey, how you doing?
Welcome, Keep It in the Ring Pro Wrestling Time. The Wiz is gonna listen, and this time I'm gonna ask some questions. I'm trying to get him into this pro wrestling orbit a little bit. He's complaining to me, I'd rather just sit and go off the air for a while you guys talk. Nah, it's not like that. We gotta.
No, he should definitely be. Yeah, no, he should definitely be a part of the conversation. I mean, how else are you going to learn if you don't participate, right? That's what all my teachers always told me.
Yeah, there you go. Right. When I was his age, I was grappling in the ring with some of the guys already. Hey, Ray, the host of you were on the SLG network again. What night? What time? Live?
Well, for our wrestling podcast, we are live Fridays 8 p.m. with Off the Top Rope. We are live every week. We run concurrently with SmackDown, so you get to see our live SmackDown reactions as we talk with ourselves and our fans and interact with them about this current week in pro wrestling.
And you need to watch that, fans, because he does keep it in the ring every week. Ray, let's jump into WWE right away, and let's go Bray Wyatt first. Let's do this quick and fast. Rapid fire, as I used to call it. Here we go. Bray Wyatt and now LA Knight. What's the story with this?
Well, they literally just put together last week. There was a little backstage interaction. LA Knight started to do his LA Knight stuff. You know, he started to just talk a little bit of ish to Bray Wyatt. And next thing you know, Bray Wyatt just hits him with almost a Glasgow kiss like headbutt. And you got LA Knight versus Bray Wyatt. Or they're leading towards LA Knight versus Bray Wyatt.
Yeah. And we get to see where Bray Wyatt goes with this now. Who's going to be with his faction? Where does this go? What have you heard?
I haven't heard anything on the faction so far, but if they do go with the Bray Wyatt, excuse me, sorry. If they do go with the Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight, we have heard numerous times dating back to his Fiend character that when you face Bray Wyatt, something in you breaks. Seth Rollins confirmed that on an interview right before Bray Wyatt had re-debuted. So we could be looking at he faces LA Knight, something inside of LA Knight breaks or LA Knight changes, and that could be the first disciple.
And now we shipped a guy you just talked about, Seth Rollins. Riz, jump in. I know you like Bobby Lashley, Riz.
I learned the phrase last week with babyface. So with Seth Rollins, explain more about the babyface and what he's turning into.
Seth Rollins, man, he operates so fantastically in the gray area, meaning that if you need him to be a heel for a program, he'll do it, and the crowd will still accept him. He's he's very much like Stone Cold Steve Austin, where Stone Cold Steve Austin made it cool to be the bad guy. Seth Rollins does that, but he doesn't do it with the same attitude that Austin did. Austin literally came in, kicked ass, took names, boom, done. Told you flip, double freedom rockets, and out we go. Rollins does it with so much panache and is so good with it that he can literally flip on a dime. Like, he was getting cheered. He always gets cheered because of his theme song, and that's one of the best things about it is you have a good theme song that the crowd can interact with.
You get into it. I love that. Yeah, and
yeah,
I like Rollins is the baby face Wiz, like you are a baby face. That's baby face. Now that's a baby face meaning the good guy, besides having the right face too. All right. Let's look at WWE some more here, and this bloodline, Roman Reigns and the whole thing. And when will Reigns lose this title? What's the latest? Survivor Series is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Who will face these guys in the Survivor Series, minus Reigns or not? And when does the bloodline finally, when does the Usos, when do they lose those tag titles? They seem to be holding them for a record amount of time as well.
Well, so first of all, we should all acknowledge our tribal chief, as Calvin said over on Facebook.
By the way, I've been meaning to do this for a couple of weeks or more since you joined this program. Wiz, New York, SLG Network, acknowledge me. See, he has no idea. We got to get him to watch. Yeah.
No, and
Reigns his thing, and it goes in the ring.
Yeah.
He says, "Acknowledge me" to the crowd. He is the what do they call him? The Messiah. What do they call him?
They call him the tribal chief.
The
head of the table.
Yeah. So he will speak now. Have you been watching the Young Rock?
I try to watch the Young Rock as much as I can, but with everything that's going on lately, I have not been able to watch this new season.
All right, Wiz, here's your wrestling lesson. All right, 101. If you don't get Peacock with Friday nights, 8:30, NBC, Young Rock. And he goes into the whole history of his character, and you get to see a lot of the history of that era, before you were born and after, a little bit when you were a kid. So watch the Young Rock, catch up with it, and you'll get wrestling educated fast watching that. Okay, so
absolutely.
So Reigns in the bloodline hold these titles for how long, Ray?
Well, as of Tuesday, the Usos became the longest reigning WWE Tag Team Champions of the modern era. They beat New Day on Friday, which pretty much solidified it. However, you never know if they're going to have a title match on Monday. They did not. So as soon as Tuesday hit, they officially became the longest reigning WWE Tag Team Champions of this current era. So who takes them off? I don't know. They're doing so good.
Yeah.
I would have said Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn once Sami splits from the bloodline, but we heard earlier today that there's a possibility that Kevin Owens is out on injury with a torn MCL that he injured that he tore at a house show.
Injury bug too with Rey Mysterio as well.
Yeah,
they're getting hit, and who else? Natalia. There's quite a few out right now. Now, Austin Theory getting a push again without the briefcase, and I like it. He's showing that he says, "Wiz, this is Austin Theory, your age, by the way," and he's telling the world, "I'm not a kid no more. I'm not a kid no more. Treat me like everyone else. I'm an adult." And he looks determined and good. I like what they're doing with him without the briefcase and the new push he's getting.
Well, it's funny because in our Off the Top Rope group chat, I had mentioned this morning, where last week everybody in the IWC was up in arms as to why would Austin Theory cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase on Seth Rollins when he had an open challenge. And on Off the Top Rope this past Friday, we had to explain that if he didn't cash in, if he had just answered the open challenge, he wouldn't have faced a depleted Seth Rollins like he did after Seth Rollins had been put through the table. But my point was the fact that everybody was so up in arms last Monday after Austin Theory had an unsuccessful cash-in. But then we see Austin Theory this week. And all of a sudden, everybody that was criticizing him from the IWC now realize, Hunter's remaking him in his image. the way that he was supposed to be made in NXT before he was shot to the moon by, previous administration. And you saw a little taste of that. And so far, everybody seems to have agreed that this is a very good thing and that the briefcase was hindering him.
Yeah, the Money in the Bank, I think, is going to go out the window now because of that as well. I see that. Well, hey, Wiz, acknowledge me.
Real quick, as far as I have been hearing for the Money in the Bank matches, it looks like they will be getting moved back to WrestleMania, and they will be doing away with the Money in the Bank.
I think that's a good idea because Money in the Bank is, that doesn't. They carried that briefcase for so long and whatever. And let's wrap this up with AEW Full Gear Saturday night, New Jersey Prudential Center pay-per-view. I plan to be there, and so I got my AEW shirt. There it is. I like this match. Moxley, I like, and I like, and Moxley and MJF, and MJF should get the title back. I like this match with Luchadores and
Jack Perry
and Jungle Boy. Yeah, and that it's going to be in a cage, and I like that. I like what AEW is doing with that match. Your thoughts?
I think it's fantastic. I also, if you guys, if you watch AEW, you've been picking up the fact that they've been using Jungle Boy's real name, Jack Perry. Obviously,
I watch it. The Wiz doesn't, but I do. But I'm going to get the Wiz to watch this stuff.
Well, yeah. So
he knows. He knows he's got to keep it in the ring. He's got to do it. He's got to acknowledge me, and he's going to do it.
So real quick. Side note: the Off the Top Rope crew. We are running a watch along where we don't show the pay-per-view, we just get the live reacts for Full Gear on Saturday. Riz, if you're not doing anything, I'm extending you an open invitation. You don't have to be there for the start of the show. You can pop in whenever you want.
No, he's
not going to watch. You never know.
He's not going to watch because he'll be watching something that's real, some type of game or something. So he's not going to watch. I'm going to have to fill him in. We'll educate him. He starts Friday night watching Young Rock. Cal, come in because we're going to go to – I think we're going to do a break before we go back to NBA, NFL. Cal?
Yeah.
Cal, where are you?
Oh, right.
Cal,
what's up?
Before we do anything else, acknowledge me.
I know this coming. I acknowledge you, Rich. I acknowledge you.
Cal? No. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Acknowledge me. Hey, Ray, thank you, my friend. On that note, you don't have to acknowledge me. I got to acknowledge you because you're a wealth of knowledge. You're great at this. Thanks every week.
And thank you. I appreciate you guys for having me,
Friday
as always.
Night, 8 p.m. live on the SLG Network. And I appreciate you coming on every week, keeping it in the ring with us.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ray. Thanks for your time. Talk to you next week.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ray.
He's great. I love having him on this program every week with us, Cal. Thanks for lining that up. All right, Cal, what should we do? Should we go to a brief break and then continue NBA, NFL, and the Wiz? Or do you want to go to a break?
I think we can run the intro quick. Give people the beautiful intro of the show, and then come back.
All right, anything going on in sports world? There's worthy of noting right now? I haven't checked. Wiz, anything?
Not that nothing's coming up on my feed. Nothing significant.
I mean, night. If it is NBA and NHL, any college basketball scores, what do you got?
Kentucky number 4 Kentucky and Michigan State are in overtime, number 2 right now. And they're beating Michigan State by 1. Other than that, NBA scores are pretty much what they should be. The Mavericks are beating the crap out of the Clippers. That's always good. It's always good as a Lakers fan. So
all right, Cal, that's great. That's good update enough for me. Before we go to break, though, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe at SLG Network Sports with Rich. Also on my channel, YouTube. Like, comment, and subscribe. Your comments in the cube. No one's got the fact of the week yet. We'll give it at the end. Also, so much more to do coming up ahead. We'll do that. Take this brief time out. Before we go, though, acknowledge me. I'm Rich Mancuso. This is Sports with Rich, live back after this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Lock the door and keep your eyes shut. The lights flicker, there's evil all around us. No one's safe from the nightmare. Cold sweat, so scared. Someone get me out of here. They say you better be afraid. The night's coming like fire from a hand grenade. There's no escaping tonight. It's coming alive.
Look what I got in my mouth tonight.
What is that, lollipop?
Whiz. Yeah, I'm on a lollipop. Quick now. Better than that other thing in my mouth. You know?
There you go.
Let's let me finish some of this. Oh, this is peach. Thanks, guys from Quality Cafe. They gave me a whole batch of them. Didn't have to pay for them. All right, Wiz, now that you got over keeping in the ring and acknowledging me, we're back. Our social media handles scrolled at the bottom. Of course, I'm at Ring786 at Twitter and Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso, among others, on our social media platforms. Latinosports.com, I write for NewYorkSportsDay.com, among others. Wiz, how do they get you again?
Follow me on Twitter, RobertRiz994, Instagram, rrizzo4, Facebook, Robert Rizzo. Catch all my daily content on Latino Sports.
All right, Wiz, let's take a look now. Let's jump ahead and move along. Great program, as always. A lot going on. We're covering it all best we can for you and everyone out there. NBA talk. And, I like Kevin. Let's talk Kevin Durant at first. Let's look at Kevin Durant and these Brooklyn Nets. And, I mean, the Irving controversy continues. And Durant, though, is trying to do as best he can to get some wins there for the Nets early in the season here.
Yeah, Durant's been carrying the Nets all on his back since the Kyrie suspension. Not many have been mentioning it, but the hiring of Jack Vaughn has completely changed the Nets' day-to-day situations, their awareness on defense. But going back to Durant, 26 points each game so far this season. He's averaging 30.6 per, 5.3 assists per game. Overall, 6-8 record. It's a long season, 82 games, but Kevin Durant right now, top 3, top 5 MVP talks. And this week so far, on the road stand, he went 2-2 against the Knicks, Clippers, Lakers, and Mavericks. So that's a tough road stretch right there. Nets will be fine in the long run, but playoff bound. I can't.
But they got to settle the Kyrie. They've got to settle the Kyrie Irving situation. It has to come to a close. And until they do,
they're playing.
I don't know. Well,
they're playing better basketball without him right now, and they're keeping the issues off the court. So right now, the Nets are in a good place, but obviously, we'll see where it goes this week.
Across town in New York, everyone's still talking about this. 145 points the Knicks gave up to the Thunder. Is it the coach? Is it him? Take a look at him.
I don't think it's Tom Thibodeau.
I think we have an image of what's his name? What's the Knicks coach's name? Before I botch up his last name. Yeah,
Tom Thibodeau.
I think we have an image of him. What's going on there? This is not a consistent team, and I'd like to see Obi Toppin getting more playing time for them.
Yeah, but overall, they were not going to be a top 6 borderline team in the East. They're going through the motions right now. As I stated last show, they beat up on the bad teams and they lose to the good teams. So far this season, they're 6th and 7th, 10th in the East, and bottom 10 in all defensive categories. The road ahead doesn't get any easier. At Utah, suddenly the Jazz are a great basketball team. Who would have thought that? At Denver, at Golden State, and then finishes it off at Phoenix. That's a tough stretch for New York.
It is rough. Yeah, but they could beat the Suns because anybody can at any time. I would say. has Brunson made a difference with this team, or they needed to do more?
They definitely had to do more during the offseason. The big blockbuster trade everyone was waiting for was Donovan Mitchell. It didn't happen. They signed Jalen Brunson. Overall, Brunson is doing what Brunson did in Dallas, 17, 18 points a game, going from there. Assist, I believe 8 per game, honestly. He's up there. But defensive awareness, he didn't get brought in to do that, and that's what they're lacking right now.
All right, the Celtics are off to this amazing start, 11-3, and Jason Tatum continues his MVP playoff of last season.
Tatum picking up right where he left off. He struggled in the NBA Finals, but over this offseason, that's all he focused on, what he was struggling on during the playoffs, and that's being aggressive in the paint. 7-game win streak right now. Tatum is the favorite to win the MVP, averaging 32 points a game, 4 assists, 7.5 rebounds. He's doing it all on offense, and they're one of the best teams on defense. That's how you win in the NBA. You got to be good on both sides.
Without a doubt. Good point, Riz. More NBA talk next week. Let's go to the NFL now. Let's briefly take a real quick look. Some of the highlights of Week 10. We're going to Week 11. We'll talk about that as well. You'll do your picks with Cal in a moment as well. How about, again, we're talking about that big loss to the Vikings, the Bills, how it happened. That's a highlight. A game of the year by all standards, that interception and so forth to catch in overtime. Your Bears, again, 30 points. What's going on with that team in Chicago? As Justin Fields continues to be a running quarterback, Fields is the only quarterback in the Super Bowl area, multiple touchdowns or more than 60 yards in the same season. So you got a quarterback there in Chicago. But they just have to win. The Giants continue their amazing turnaround and run. We talked about that division with Ricky Ricardo earlier. Tom Brady gets a rebound win again in Germany. The NFL says they're going to do it again and again and again. They're going to expand more. Germany, Mexico. I don't like it, but that's what they're going to do. But Brady and the Bucs get the win. Cooper Kupp. The Rams keep struggling. He's out with a bad ankle, maybe out for the next 4 or 5 weeks. Going to hurt the Rams if they have any chance of getting back. Colt McCoy becomes the quarterback in the for the Cardinals. Kyle Murray out 238 yards. Keep him, I say. John Wolford did for Stratford in that game too. And the Colts with a new coach. Matt Ryan becomes the quarterback again for them. The Vikings continue their roll off to this great start. The Eagles lose their first game last night, and we'll get to see what the Jets are going to do now this Sunday coming off their bye week. They have wins against the Dolphins in the division, wins against the Bills in the AFCs, but they got to beat the Patriots if they really want to be serious here. 13 in a row. We'll see how that goes, Wiz. So a great interesting week in the NFL as we go into Week 11 now, but let's still look at some of the things that happened in Week 10 and give your thoughts. Daniel Jones and the Giants now going to 7-2. A surprise.
Big surprise out of Daniel Jones and the Giants, 7-2. Last 6 games, he only has 2 turnovers. That was the biggest issue going into the season and Daniel Jones' career overall, the turnover issues, but he's solving it so far. 13-17, 197 with 2 touchdowns on Sunday against Houston. Big W. They get the Lions this upcoming week. Should be a tough matchup, high-scoring offense. But overall, Giants looking good at 7-2.
And Cal, I told him earlier, the Packers finally got a win, which made Cal happy and everyone in Green Bay. Yet they have a lot of work to do if they want to get back to the postseason this year. Okay, Wiz, let's continue now. Dallas. And their schedule, of course, that's going to get tougher. But that NFC East is really no more the least. The Cowboys coming up, they're going to have a big Thanksgiving Day game with the Giants too. So, but again, you look at the defensive rush of the Giants, the defense of the Giants, and their running game with Saquon Barkley. And to me, because Daniel Jones is really not compiling a lot of yards, passing or running, it's the defense of that team, and of course, it's their running game. And you do that enough about, you're going to win ball games, and they're doing it.
Definitely, they're winning ball games, less turnovers, protecting the run. Saquon's leading the way. And with the defense the way they are, it's going to add up on W's.
Again, everyone's still talking about that Bills Vikings game and how it went. Most exciting game, the game of the year, and one of the most exciting. We had a few last year, especially in the postseason, regular season game. This was great. That Justin Jefferson catch, unbelievable. Let's take a look at it again. And the Vikings have become this late game winning team against the Bills, against Washington, against the Lions, and against the Saints. This is the catch of the year, the game of the year, and the Vikings are 8-1, and they got the Cowboys next.
That's a big matchup coming up. Justin Jefferson, another highlight reel. Every Sunday he's a highlight reel. This Sunday, 10 receptions, 193 yards, leading the way along with Jamar Chase, but I blanked on the name, but along with Jamar Chase, 27 receptions.
Excused, yeah.
27 receptions, gaining 15 plus or more yards. So just like that, Justin Jefferson, it's not just quick slants. He's doing everything.
Jeff Saturday coached on Sunday, pardon the pun again, but gets his win as new coach of the Colts. And what do you make of him changing quarterbacks and putting what's his name back in the game? Putting him back in and got the win.
He opted with Matt Ryan over Sam Ehlinger. I thought that was the right choice. A lot of guys buy into a winning quarterback like Matt Ryan. It's his first head coaching opportunity like that. You got to go in and make noise, get the buy-in from your players, and that's something that he did on Sunday. And a former player like that, he knows what to do. We weren't upset with Jeff Saturday getting hired. We were upset with the hiring process overall.
Yeah, agree. A little controversial in how it happened. Obviously, differences with the owner Ursi and White, the coach. So Zach Wilson and the Jets, if they really want to be considered this playoff team, and they're headed there, they have to beat again. They got to do it. They got to they got to break the snide against those Patriots on Sunday.
It's a similarity of beating your big brother for the first time. This is 13 consecutive games they've taken an L. Week 8 was their last matchup. Wilson was playing great in the first half, and out of nowhere in the second half, he threw 3 interceptions. They lost 22-17. If the Jets want to be taken seriously, go up to New England and get the W.
Yes, 13 in a row. They have not won a game against them. 13 in a row they've lost. And that's it. You just said it was take them seriously. They got to beat them on Sunday, even though there is a new enthusiasm with the New York/New Jersey football teams, the Giants and Jets. Will Odell Beckham Jr., subject of rumors, maybe become a Giant again? I mean, what is the latest on Odell Beckham Jr., OBJ?
A lot of the Giants fans want him back, but I don't think he's gonna return to New York. When you look at what's available for him, the 4 teams out there: Bills, Cowboys, Rams, Giants. You're looking at the quarterbacks: Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Stafford, or Daniel Jones. You know who the choices are right then and there. Yeah. I'm not picking Daniel Jones out of the 4 guys. So no, I think it's Buffalo or Dallas.
Good observation, Wiz. That's why we get out of the NFL for right now. You'll get back to it with Cal in a moment and make your picks for Week 11. But now it's that great time of the program. We go through yes or no. We have the questions. I put him on the spot. He gives the answer. And Cal put it up. It's Nobody Beat the Wiz on Sports with Rich, as we do each and every Tuesday night live here on the SLP Network. Bring up the music. We see the lion there, the Wiz right there. And now we get to the questions. And here we go. Wiz, you ready?
Ready.
Here we go. Yes or no? The controversy with Bill Belichick always continues. He makes a comment just yesterday that challenges for coaches should be allowed the 2-minute mark instead of it going to officials. Now, I kind of agree with him on this one, though. What do you think?
It was the 2-minute mark. He doesn't agree with it.
No, he wants coaches to be able to challenge at the 2-minute mark, which is not which is not the rule. The rule book is for the officials to do it, not the coaches.
Should be able.
I think it should be consistency. Yeah, what do you think? Yes or no?
You should be able to challenge in the 2-minute mark as much as officials get the opportunity to. You know damn well they're not doing it every time. If the coach had that opportunity, he'd be challenging when needed, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, he was testing because he needed one on Sunday, too. But I agree with him, and I don't agree with Bill Belichick very much, the veteran. All right, Wiz, yes or no? The Vikings, if we've been talking, 8-1, 7 consecutive games, 8 points or fewer. All right. Are the Vikings real? Yes or no?
I don't think the Vikings are real. I trust the core in Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook. I can't trust Kirk Cousins in January. I have to see it before then. Everyone last season had Matt Stafford. They didn't trust him going into the postseason. He proved it. I got to see Kirk Cousins prove it in January before I'm placing my money, my bets on the Vikings.
And of course, they've done something that since the 2020 Chiefs did that. 7 games, 8 points or fewer. And that's incredible. That explains that record of 8-1. All right, nobody beats the Wiz continues. Yes or no with the Wiz? Now, the Mets made an announcement just a couple of days ago that they're moving their fences again in at Citi Field. I believe it's right center field. They're moving them in again and to increase home run production. Enough! Do you like that? Yes or no?
I actually like it. I think it's a good setup. It's a better experience for the fans. It reminds me of the Marlins Park, Lowen Depot Park, something like that with so many sponsorships. But you have a bar, a walking bar, a sit-down bar in left field. Now Citi Field has one. I kind of like it. Everything's walking distance. You can walk around at Citi like we know. It's a hangout, and Mets fans should come out and support because we saw in September and October.
Does it help this team? Does it help with home run production? Because they completely feel that they're looking to benefit both teams.
It will definitely help because just Jeff McNeil alone, he had so many warning track fly ball outs this season. Those would be home runs next year.
All right, nobody beats the Wiz. We continue, yes or no? All right. What shortstop in the free agent market now is going to command the most money? Carlos Correa, Dansby Swanson, Xavier Bogaerts, or Trey Turner? Good crew, shortstops. Teams want them. What do you think is going to command the most money out of those 4?
It's a great class overall. I think it's a great class overall. I'm going to go with Trey Turner getting the most money in the most years. Short term, I could see Correa doing what he did last year. Go for that 3-year 105 with the opt-outs. Just get a record AAV. But Correa or Turner for sure will get the biggest deal.
So you're yes on that?
Yep.
Okay. Yes or no, Wiz? The World Cup coming up just in about a week or less. We'll talk more about that in the final segment. Is it the premier sporting event, do you think, around the world, or the Super Bowl, World Series, everything else? Soccer World Cup?
I'm going with the Super Bowl first. I think the Super Bowl is king, and then you have the World Cup and March Madness as a close second. March Madness is a king of its own every year. The ratings are high.
Yeah, but here's where I say I disagree with you on this respect. And I say no to this. You say no, I say yes. This is a worldwide event. They're going to get ratings all over the world, not just United States, all over the world. So that's why I think I don't agree with you there.
It's tough to compare the two because World Cup is 4 weeks. The Super Bowl is just one night.
All right, Wiz, my final question to you. Nobody beats the Wiz, and here we go. It's about me. And it's not acknowledging me here. It's this. I saw it before. I didn't know the spill. Where or when is going to be my next spill? And do I really have an issue with spilling? Yes or no? I mean, the people at Yankee Stadium, they think I have an issue.
I'm going to go with them then. You might have an issue.
Yeah, it's called getting older. That's what it is.
You're all good.
Thank you. My young protege, the Wiz Robert.
In the press box,
with that.
In the press box, I lose my keys. You saw me.
yeah, and your press passes too.
All right, I didn't want to bring that up.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. All right. And with that, Cal, let's call it this week for Nobody Beats the Wiz. We do it every Tuesday on the program. He's the Lion. That's the Wiz Robert Rizzo. And we close it up this week. All right. That's it for now for me. I'll be back on the other side to wrap it up with the Wiz. In the meantime, Cal.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna. Are you going to a break? Or gonna go right into it with the Wiz right now?
Let's get right into it.
We can go right into
All
it.
right, that's it. Good.
Talking football and talking basketball, I got a bunch of energy in right now. So
all right,
let's get
good. I'm going to step aside as I've been doing now. As Cal this week with the Wiz will go into the picks for Week 11 in the NFL here on Sports with Rich, and I'll be back after that break on the side to wrap it up. Go ahead, guys, take it over.
Rich. All right, Rich, let's get into it.
We're here, Week 11. I can't believe it's Week 11. Just saying that sounds surprising to me. Week by week, the league flies by. But here we are, Week 11, and we're starting off Thursday Night Football with your Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field facing the Tennessee Titans. Packers are 3.5 favorites right now. I think it could go up throughout the week. Total is set at 42. I'm leaning on Green Bay right now. I like what I saw out of them in that second half. 14-point comeback.
Yeah, 14 point to tie it up and then an overtime win. Absolutely.
So just like that, I'm going to ride with Aaron Rodgers. A Bears fan picking Aaron Rodgers, it's tough, but over Tennessee and Derrick Henry, I'm going to take Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Green Bay too, especially to cover. They just don't have any kind of firepower on the outside for Tannehill or Malik to throw to. Green Bay secondary is going to be able to focus in on the run and stopping Derrick Henry, and if they're able to do it, they should win by 14.
There you go. Rich and I mentioned this before with Ricky Ricardo, Jets-Patriots, big matchup. Right now, Patriots are 3-point favorites. Total is at 39. Low total to begin with, but this is the biggest matchup for New York for the season. Week 8 was the other one, and they lost that one against New England. I'm riding with the Jets here. If you want to get taken serious in the AFC East, beat New England and become that second place team that they are right now.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of where the Jets have this is the moment that the Jets have been building for this year so far. You know, Robert Saleh's got that defense looking right. The offense is starting to look okay. Give me the Jets to cover. Give me the Jets for the outright win, and give me the over on that line too. I feel like 38 is disrespectful. Yeah, 39. I just saw it drop to 38.5. That's disrespectfully low to two NFL teams. Yeah, give me the over on that game as well.
Definitely. Next game, the other New York team, we get Detroit Lions at MetLife to face the New York Giants. Giants are 3-point favorites right now with a total set at 46. I'm very skeptical on that total right now. I'm bumping on the over 46. Lions score a lot, although they don't have a lot of wins. Giants defense can hold up, but right now I'm going to take the over at 46 and ride with Giants money line.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much there with you. The Lions have one of the worst scoring defenses in the league, where they're giving up almost 30 a game. That almost right there. If the Lions score 16, which their offense can certainly do so, you're already hitting over. So give me the over on that one as well, and give me the Giants by 3 as well.
Our next game we got online is Cleveland Browns at Buffalo Bills. Bills open up as a 8-point favorite. Total is 43 right now. Josh Allen looks fine against the Vikings with the UCL injury, chucking it all over, running it all over. I do not like the spread at 8, but right now I'm taking Bills money line. But overall, the total at 43, that's skeptical to me. I would take the over at 43 for sure for Set versus Allen.
Yeah, I mean the Browns have been able to run the ball stoutly throughout this entire year, and that they got some weapons on the outside with Amari Cooper. The over is a hit for sure. And Bills money line Give me the Browns +8 though. I feel like that's a disrespectful line for a sneaky team that runs the ball a lot and they hold on to time of possession. I feel like the Browns are going to be able to keep it within 8.
For sure. That's a sneaky line. 30-23. That just bangs you right there.
100%.
Philadelphia Eagles at Indianapolis to face the Colts and Jeff Saturday. Eagles coming off their first loss of the season to the Commanders last night. Right now, Eagles are 6.5 favorites, 6.5 point favorites with a total set at 45. Right now, I would take the Eagles at 6.5, 7.5. It opened at 10. It's closing in right now. Fans are betting Colts. I'm riding with Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I think Ricardo said it earlier. The Commanders have shown a formula that you can beat the Philadelphia Eagles by running the ball stoutly. And Jonathan Taylor is starting to look like Jonathan Taylor again. I don't want to take the Colts outright, but I'm going to take Colts +6.5. I'll take it Philly money line. But also give me the under on this game because 45 with a lot of running, that's going to usually lead to a pretty low scoring game, especially because time of possession. It'll lead heavily for the Colts, and I don't think the Philly high-power offense is going to get a chance to do its work.
Nice. No, for sure. That should be a good matchup with Taylor and Sanders. Sanders didn't get much reps this past Monday.
Absolutely.
Next, we got up, I believe that's the 425 slate. Dallas Cowboys at Minnesota Vikings. Cowboys are a 1-point favorite right now. I believe this will get to a pick-em by the time we get to game time. Total is at 48. My lock of the week is the over at 48. Kirk Cousins versus Dak Prescott on primetime. Eliminate the primetime. They're both scoring points. I don't know about Kirk Cousins winning on primetime, but they will definitely score some points with Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook. So my lock is total and the over at 48.
Yeah, I love the over 48. This is probably the biggest 50-50 matchup of the week for me, which it really shouldn't be because the Cowboys coming off a loss to Green Bay. The Vikings look incredible. However, when it's past 4 o'clock in Kirk's bedtime, then we kind of start getting a little weary as to where we're going to be with Kirk Cousins. So I think the lock is the over at 48. I don't feel comfortable picking a team here, but if I'm going to be forced to do so, give me the hot hand in the Minnesota Vikings.
So you're banking on us seeing another Kirk Cousins iced out post game.
Yeah, I'd rather bet on a Dalvin Cook 150-yard rushing game than bet on Kirk late night doing anything spectacular. That's what I'll say.
Next up on the slate, we have Sunday Night Football, Chiefs at Chargers. This just got flexed last week into Sunday Night Football. Big matchup, Chiefs-Chargers. Opens up with a Chiefs 7-point favorites, total at 51. A lot of points right there. Jay Herbo versus Mahomes. That's a highlight reel just waiting to happen. 500 yards combined. You can bank on that. I feel like it's every time they play that happens, but I'm going to ride with the hot hand, Kansas City. They don't lose in November and December. Kansas City -7. Give me Kansas City -8. But if it gets to 10, I'm avoiding the game.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, they had a huge shootout on Thursday Night Football like 2 or 3 years ago where it was a high-scoring 80-point-ish game.
Oof.
Give me the over on this every single time we see them play each other, especially because those defenses, while they are stout, they're not doing as great as they should be doing. Over on that. Give me Chiefs money line. I'm not picking them to cover 7 points, though.
All right. With our final game of the week, Mexico City, the International Series. Always love these. San Francisco 49ers facing the Arizona Cardinals. 49ers are 7-point favorites with a total set at 44. Right now, it's questionable if Kyler Murray will play or not. I'm banking on him playing. You mention it all the time. It's Call of Duty time, so he may be off. But right now, Niners are 7-point favorites with a total of 44. I'm going to ride with the Niners money line. I do not like the spread. And whoever's playing quarterback, Murray or McCoy, I'm still taking Cardinals money line, not the spread.
Yeah, I think it's kind of suspicious that the same day or same week that Warzone 2 and the new Call of Duty mode dropped that Kyler Murray seems to be hurt. Not questioning him entirely, but just it's a little suspicious, weird. I just follow the clues. If he does end up playing, Cards +8 is going to be or +7, whatever the sports book you go through says is going to be a very, very easy line to crush, I'm pretty sure. The over at 43.5, if he plays, is going to be a very easy bet to crush. But the Niners are winning this game, so Niners money line, no matter what, is the for sure bet, and the Mexico City game.
Totally agree. One more game I wanted to get into. I pick random games. We're not going to talk about each one, but Bears Falcons. I want to see this narrative with Justin Fields continue week by week. I said it from the beginning of the season. If they're not winning, it's totally fine with me. If Fields is developing week on week, that's all that matters. His stat lines the last 3 weeks remind me of Lamar Jackson's rookie year. No one said, everyone was saying that he's only a running back. That's the narrative right now with Fields. So give it some more times, get some more weapons over the offseason, I'm hoping, and see where it goes from there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Justin Fields is number 6 in the NFL in rushing yards right now. And if that's how they end up winning games and scoring points, that's how you build an offense around a quarterback then, by what they do best. And if the Chicago Bears are going to rock with Justin Fields, and I 100% think that's the way you do it then.
Exactly, and that's what I wanted to mention with Bears Falcons. A total at 50.5 featuring the Chicago Bears. This does not feel real to me in 2022, but I'm going to take it as is with a grain of salt. 50 and a half. I'm going to take the under.
Yeah, I mean, lightning can strike twice sometimes. I don't know if it's going to strike like 4 or 5 times. So give me the under on this one, especially because the Falcons aren't looking like them normal selves. And the Bears, I don't know. I just don't know. I can't trust them as far as I can throw them. No,
you good points all around. That concludes our Week 11 game picks. Right after the commercial break, we'll be back with Rich Mancuso to wrap everything up. Always on the SLG Network, Tuesday nights starting at 8 p.m.
The door and keep your eyes shut. The lights flicker, there's evil all around us. No one's safe from the nightmare. Cold sweat, so scared. Someone get me out of here. They say you better be afraid. The night's coming like fire from a hand grenade. There's no escaping tonight. It's coming alive.
10:15 p.m. We're running over again. Rich Mancuso, there's the Wiz, Robert Rizzo, Sports with Rich live. SLG Network, Sports with Rich, also Rich Mancuso on YouTube. Great job again with the picks, Wiz. You and Cal this week, right on the money. I was listening to some of that. I could agree with you on some of those picks. You guys are better at it than me. That's why I let you do it. I said it every week. It's not Avery, Cal, it's you. You went with the Cardinals, though, huh? You went with my team this week. My team. You went to the team that I root for.
Well, it's a tough matchup. 49ers at Cardinals, but in Mexico City, anything could happen.
Yeah. Mexico City, Germany. The NFL should be playing here and not overseas. Across the Honda, wherever. Oh, please. Another story. All right. I first want to go to the NHL. We don't do that much, and we're going to do more of it. But those Devils are hot. They did win again tonight, 5-1. And I think they've now won 10 in a row coming out of the gate. Not out of the gate. They were a month in already or so. But they've won 10 in a row, the hottest team in the NHL. I don't know when they've had a start this good. And that's a great accomplishment for this organization if they keep this up.
For sure. Right now, the Devils and the Islanders are the hottest teams in New York out of hockey. Everyone was banking on the Rangers being it. But long season ago, 10-game winning streak, lots ride the note on. But overall, long season.
Tampa Bay struggling, and they're always in it at the end. But they've been getting some output from Braden Hagel, 11 points in 13 games, and nothing much though. And also Nick Paul, 8 points in 13 games for Tampa Bay. So they'll be in it at the end. They always are. I'm not an NHL aficionado. We'll get some of those people on the program too in a week's ahead. I'm struggling with my headset all night. It keeps falling off. Because you're not here to help me with it. That's why. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk some soccer now. Let's talk football. Soccer. That's what they call it in Europe, football. Before we get to the World Cup, and we're going to look at NYCFC, because finally it happened. We talk about it a lot. Today and officially announced tomorrow, they're finally going to get their own ball, their own venue. New York City and NYFC have come to an agreement, and it's going to be a good one. They're going to get their own stadium that'll 25,000 people that will open in the year 2025. It's going to be part of a complex by Citi Field. And it's going to be a soccer stadium. That's going to be a sports paradise over there now in Flushing by Citi Field. And finally, NYC has their own stadium. It's going to cost $780 million, and they're going to put a lot into it. There's a look at it. I was tweeted out by the New York Times earlier this evening. Looks nice. And we'll be ready by 2025. NYCFC has been playing at Yankee Stadium, at Citi Field, and at Red Bull Arena. And that looks like they're going to play more at Citi Field next season, for what I was told this evening. So congratulations, NYFC. Also, they named Nick Cushing, the interim coach, no more interim. He's their head coach. And they re-signed their young, homegrown forward from the Bronx, 20-year-old, to John Gray. So that's good news for a fan of NYCFC.
Major news for NYCFC and major news for New York go-getters in general. Whoever's been to Citi Field, they know outside there is nothing to do. With something like this, a new stadium, a hotel, bars, restaurants.
And apartment complexes, too. They're building apartment complexes,
hotels. It's gonna make you feel at. It's gonna make you feel at home. It's gonna make you feel that Philly fan base. When we went to Philadelphia, it felt all oriented and everyone together. Right. Citi Field, it never feels like that, and that's what I'm hoping happens when this stadium is built.
All right, and we're gonna talk World Cup. We'll get back to that in a moment. Let's look at the latest college football rankings and the college football playoff rankings that just came out. Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and TCU. They top the third college football playoff rankings. Tennessee fifth, and LSU is sixth. So that's coming to a climax. How about C.J. Stroud this past weekend, Wiz?
C.J. Stroud continues to do it. 10-0 season, 34 touchdown passes on the year. First among leaders across the board. 4 interceptions. First with QBR, 92 QBR for the season. I believe he's the Heisman go-getter, front runner, whatever you want to name it. Ohio State breeds these guys, and they're wide receiver machines, and it shows for the quarterback year on year.
All right, so again, it's coming down to the climax in college football, and Georgia is still players. Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU. Georgia, I believe, that college football now, this time of year, you got to watch and pay attention. You know?
For sure. And I was going to say, expect these rankings to change because Thanksgiving weekend, we get Ohio State versus Michigan. A 2 versus a 3. Bearing both teams win this weekend, we get a 2 versus a 3 next weekend.
And yet Michigan is not in that top 4 yet for that college football playoff ranking. They're not in there, and it just came out. So maybe they'll move in there next week.
I believe Michigan was 3.
Let me read it again. You're right. Michigan was 3rd. My bad. It's getting late. Okay, now
no, it's gonna fluctuate.
How about Hendon Hooker?
Hendon Hooker, stud out of
Heisman Trophy. That's gonna be a couple of weeks. They'll announce the Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah, he's a stud out of Tennessee. He's running the helm for them. 9-1 season. They face South Carolina this upcoming Saturday. 24 touchdowns on the year. 2,800 passing yards with 2 interceptions. The guy's a gunslinger, but he's accurate and aware of his surroundings. 2 interceptions on the year. Come on now. But last Saturday, he had 355 passing, 50 rushing. Dual threat quarterback right there. So we're going to see Stroud and Hooker go back and forth for that Heisman campaign.
Yeah, I always like that. I like the Heisman Trophy. I've gone to that event in New York many times. I might go this year because there's a Teofimo Lopez in the Garden that same night. They do the Heisman before, then they go right there. So I might do that this year. All right, college basketball. It started again. Duke, Kansas tonight, and Kentucky all in action, and I think this is turning out to be an early good look at what you might end up seeing in March Madness with these teams.
Definitely. There's a lot of great matchups on the slate. I actually zoned in on Temple Villanova the other night. Villanova took their first loss of the season over Temple. We focused in on Kyle Neptune all of last season with Fordham. I like seeing the development so far out of Villanova, but like you said, college basketball, it's that time of the year. You got to zone in.
Everything's happening right now. Fordham won tonight. Talk about them Atlantic 10 up at Rose Hill. There's Queenberry 17 points. Fordham won 79-61 over New Hampshire. The Rams are off to a good start. They're 2-1. So I'm going to see them Saturday. Fordham's got a doubleheader up there. They've got college hoops at 5 o'clock. Before that, the football team, final game of the season, hoping to get in the Patriot League, an NCAA Division I bid in that conference. They're Division 1A, so they're not with the big boys. The Patriot League is still a good league. All right. Did you see this? I know you did. A Babe Ruth glove selling for $1.5 million. It's the year of the auction.
This is a hell of a story. Like you said, it is the year of the auction. Every month we hear a new story about sports memorabilia getting caught on auction, going for record prices. Babe Ruth sold for $1.53 million over this weekend at Louisville Slugger Museum and Factory. And just a hidden note on the glove, there's a spatter of tobacco juice on the glove from Jimmy Austin, who played for the St. Louis Browns. So just this type of piece in history, you want to own as a sports fan, not just Yankee fans, not just baseball fans. This is something you would want. And for $1.53 million,
why do you want a glove with $1.5 million? Was this Babe Ruth, I guess?
If you got the money, hey, why not?
I guess so. Was rest in peace to Chuck Carr, former Marlin, Astro, and Met, 55 years old, passed away unexpectedly this week. I vaguely remember him way before your time playing baseball, but rest in peace to Chuck Carr, former major leaguer. Back to the World Cup. Are you ready? Starts next Sunday, the FIFA World Cup in Qatar?
Yeah, I'm extremely. I'm prepared.
So am I.
It started Friday, and the World Cup. It's one of those things. I don't gravitate or choose a team until like mid-tournament. Like I buy into them while they're playing. Like, oh, this is the team I like. I like the energy on the field, and that's who I'll pick. So going into it, I don't have a favorite.
Neither do I. I had a discussion with a couple of people before we came on the air tonight. Went on to dinner. And they're not soccer fans. They can't get into it. I try to convince them to watch it. I wasn't a soccer fan 5 years ago. I am now. I love the game. And their claim is that soccer doesn't have the popularity here because they're only the mainstream sports that take over in the States. I agree with that. But this is a worldwide event. This is as big as it gets. And it happens every 4 years or so. And what's great about it is how nations get together. Almost like the Olympics, and they do it every 4 years. And I'm looking forward to it. And I see that the USA, Wales, they started off on Monday. And the USA is favored, and we'll see how far they go. They got a local guy, Sean Johnson, is one of the keepers on the USA team.
That's definitely going to be that's going to be a great watch. Sean Johnson as the goalie for Team USA. Right now, I believe Team USA is a sleeper for overall winning the tournament, but there's so many top dogs. One of them could get tossed off, and that's all it takes. Right now, Argentina,
how many hours?
Brazil,
how much are you going to watch in the World Cup on Fox?
Oh, I honestly don't know. Take it day by day because the matchups change. But Argentina, Brazil, Germany, Spain, those are the top dogs. USA, Serbia, Netherlands can make noise. Netherlands seems to make noise every World Cup.
It's just a fantastic time of year when the World Cup comes around. Looking forward to it. Fast, athletic, and soccer players, as we call them here, football players, they call them overseas. They are the most athletic athletes you can find, even more athletic than pro fighters. And you know what fighters in boxing was, but they are tremendous. So looking forward to the World Cup. Back to Fordham, and this was great to see this. The late Vin Scully, from his estate, $1 million went to his alma mater. He played baseball at Fordham. The late Dodgers great announcer for over 55 years. Donated $1 million from his estate to Fordham University and to Fordham Prep, the adjacent high school where he also attended. And, up at Rose Hill, they're going to have a ring of honor for the late Vince Scully, and they're renaming the press box at Jack Coffey Field, the baseball field, in his name. Quite an honor and a great, great way to remember his alma mater. Before he passed, he had decided to do that, and now Fordham will honor him every day. And there's going to be a Vince Scully museum or a memorabilia museum over at Fordham, and I'm looking forward to seeing that when they unveil it.
Definitely. That's a beautiful tribute for Vince Scully. There's people my age that weren't able to tune into the prime of Scully, and they still talk about him on Fordham's University, at my school when I was in college. People love Vince Scully, not just the broadcaster, but the person. People zoned into his calls at midnight on the East Coast. They did not care, and I was one of them. I was an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old tuning into Scully, and those are the things I'll never forget.
Loved his voice, too, and the way he painted the picture better than anyone else.
Exactly.
And it was a one-man broadcast booth with him towards the end. So looking forward to seeing that up at Rose Hill in memory of the late Vince Scully, who donated the $1 million from his estate to Fordham. All right. Did you see this? That Pete Rose is still looking, and he should be. Charlie Hustle petitioned baseball commissioner Rob Ranford once again, be in the Hall of Fame. He's 82 years of age. No word from Manfred yet. He wrote a very compelling, strong letter to Manfred. And he also brought up the fact that, look, I did wrong. I paid my dues. I belong in there. Baseball now, there's wagering on baseball, on Major League Baseball game. So he made his cause, Wiz. He made his case.
Yeah, and he has a great case overall. Looking at it 5 years ago, I don't think he has a great case, but look where MLB is now. It is a total mess. The home run king is not in. The hit king is not in. A pitcher like Curt Schilling is not in. It's just a total mess. And like you said, you could bet on baseball games. That's one thing. When MLB is partnered with betting sites and Pete Rose still isn't in the Hall of Fame, we have an issue overall. He has to be in, and it's going to be a huge devastation if he gets in after he passes away. He deserves to be in while he's alive.
He deserves to be in now. Like him or like him not. Paid his dues. Baseball all-time hits leader. Let him in. He should have been in a long time ago. So we'll see where that goes. I want to go back once again, not to, look, the spiller as I am. We've been over this. Look at it again, Cal. I got to put it up. That's me. Why? Why, Wiz? Why do I spill?
I don't know.
Oh, jeez, I did it again. They all said you didn't spill today, and they must have hacked me over there. The Yankee Stadium dining crew stamp I won't see again probably till the spring, or if I do go to the Pinstripe Bowl at the end of December. All right, we leave the program this week on a sad note. Another passing in the sports world on the broadcast side. Fred Hickman, 63 years of age, passed away. Apparently been very ill. There he is. And there he is with this was Nick Charles to his right, a late great friend of mine, colleague. We'd have dinner a lot. We'd meet up a lot. Boxing guy with Showtime. And, of course, the original CNN crew of broadcasters, Fred Hickman and Nick Charles. They were the first ones to do sports on CNN way before you were born. And also then they followed up on ESPN. Hickman also was the first broadcaster on the Yes Network, regional network, the Yankees and Jersey Nets game and Brooklyn Nets games, and was a credit to the profession. As good as could be, Wiz. Is a great guy. I met him a few times. Was in his company with Nick a few times, and now they're both together, and they reunited. And look, they'll be looking down on all of us and all the future broadcasters and media personnel like yourself. So rest in peace, Fred Hickman. He's faded away a little bit over the last few years, and now we know why. But you never heard, again, I never heard not one bad word about the guy. And if you look back and watch his past and how him and Nick Charles had that chemistry, they were a great team. So rest in peace, Fred Hickman. God bless you. Wiz, we're coming to the end, and let's bring in Cal. Let's wrap this thing up. Let's go to the fact of the week. We got to get the answer. Now, it's a fact, not trivia. NCAA tournament, of course, in April, months away. But here, quicker than you know, the way time flies. 2 states have never sent a school to the tournament. This is a fact, not trivia. The bobbleheads, no one got them again. Like, comment, and subscribe in the queue, as always, every week. You got Alaska, Cal. Wiz didn't get either one of them. Now we got Alaska as the one state. What was the other?
So I have the benefit of sitting behind the scenes and thinking about this for the last 2.5 hours. So I've gone through every state in my head, and I think I have the answers. So I'll let Robert guess first if he wants to.
I'll guess first, and I feel like I'm totally off. Obviously, Alaska is one of them. I'm gonna go Wyoming.
Nope, not even close. Sorry, Wiz.
All
right, Cal. Cal, you got Alaska. One more shot before we wrap this up.
The only state besides Alaska that I can't think of a notable college basketball team located is in Maine.
What did you say?
Maine.
Congratulations, Cal. You got it again.
Let's go, dude.
How many times has Cal got the fact of the week in the last month when he's been here? 2?
There we go.
3?
2 or 3. But he holds the record right now.
Cal, you got it without looking it up again? Be honest.
Yeah, without looking it up.
Well, congratulations. You got a lot of time to think about it. And you know what, Cal, because we're getting into holiday season and no one out there has been able to get this fact of the week among our viewers, and we thank them each and every week for tuning in on our social media platforms and here on the SLG network.
Absolutely.
The bobblehead's still standing here. So you know what? Are you an Aaron Judge fan?
Yeah, I love Aaron Judge.
All right. I'm going to break protocol here. Wiz, do you think that's the right thing? Wiz, do you think that's the right thing to do?
It's the right thing to do. Always for Calvin. Cal. He's going through a lot with the football season.
Yeah, and it's a holiday season coming up. And Cal, you earned it. So I'm breaking protocol. You're going to get the Aaron Judge bobblehead. I can't look at it here on my desk no more. You'll get it.
Yeah,
we'll find out. We'll get your address, and somehow I'll ship it to you. You'll get it, and it'll. Yes, I'm sure you deserve it.
I appreciate that, Rich. Thank you very much.
Just don't put a Milwaukee Brewer decal over it. That's what I'm afraid
right next to Euchre back here. Something I forget where I put it.
Oh, okay. They look good. You loved Aaron Judge. He loved them. So that's yours, Cal.
Appreciate that.
You got the fact of the week, and again, you deserved it, and you got it. Okay, so we'll get. I'll get your shipping address and all that because I don't know when we're ever going to meet. And on that, Cal, thank you very much for being with us this week. I appreciate all your hard work.
Thank you, Cal.
You and
Absolutely.
Keeping us going on the air every week. Thanks, man.
Absolutely.
See you next week or week after. And speaking about next week, Wiz, Next week, I'm taking off. It's Thanksgiving week, and I have things I got to do. No, I'm not cooking a turkey. I'm bad at that. It's just that I got to take the week off. I won't be able to make it next week. The show will be in good hands next week with you and Jason Schott. And as always, you'll do a good job. Come up with your own fact of the week. I don't know.
There's a lot in store for next week. Me and Jason have a bunch going back and forth, but Thanksgiving week with football, college football, free agency updates, there's a lot to talk about, and me and Jason will do it.
Good. So next week you guys take over. I'll be back in 2 weeks, and there'll be a lot going on then as well. And I'll tell everyone now, if I don't speak to you on social media, have a great, healthy, happy Thanksgiving next week. I can't believe we're talking Thanksgiving and it's here. And tune in again next Tuesday night live on the SLG Network, as always, with Sports with Rich. I'm Rich Mancuso. That's the whiz, Robert Rizzo. I'm at Ring786 at Twitter, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. Of course, get me at LatinoSports.com. Read my work there, and at NewYorkSportsDay.com. A lot more to come there in the next few days, so make sure you log in and read that content. And where do they get you?
Follow me on Twitter, RobertRiz994, Instagram, rrizzo4, Facebook, Robert Rizzo. Latino Sports is where you'll catch all my daily content.
Good work as always. Great content. Read his work and be in touch. Thanks again to Ricky Ricardo for doing a great job with us earlier in the evening. Great insights on the Eagles, the NFL, and the Yankees in Major League Baseball. Ricky calls WIP Radio Philly and WFAN New York, Spanish broadcasting lead play-by-play call for the Eagles, Spanish, and also Yankees, Spanish radio. All right, Wiz, I'll be talking to you, but next week have a good show with Jason Schott. Thank you all for your great support, as always, your loyalty. Keep in touch with us on social media. We thank you always. And I'll tell you all out there to have a happy Thanksgiving now. Wiz, what do we say every week when we close?
As always, keep it in the ring.
Keep it in the ring, and remember, acknowledge me. Till then, folks, take care. Be well. God bless. Thank you. This is Sports with Rich.